What's up, guys? Yeah, Friday, right, Bruce? Friday. I really don't do much content on the weekends, besides if I do Big Mike Little Ant on Sundays. But usually on the weekends, man, I'm out with Sandy, my wife. We're like we go out, we eat a lot, we go to the movies a lot. Actually, haven't went to the movies in probably like 3 weeks. That's crazy. But we got some movies coming up, Spider-Man and all that coming up. So she is out actually at a she's painting Christmas ornaments with Nikki, if you guys know her from the St. Anthony show. And so I literally have no plans because I have no life. So if you guys don't see me on, I'm spending time with my wife. And if not, I'm streaming. That's my life. I don't really go out and hang out with my old friends. You guys are my friends. You guys are like my family. Like, I'm being honest. Like, when I have free time, I just want to stream. So that's my like form of communication, chatting with you guys, laughing, joking, talking about video games and whatever else. Yeah, man. Um, yeah, no friends. Bruce said new friends. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really make too many new friends because pretty much just going to work. So whoever I know at work, but I guess I'm weird. Like I hung out with my friend Jocelyn a couple times, her and her girlfriend, and but that's like still part of my Friday, my weekend, right? Like that's me getting out for the weekend, going out to eat, and still my wife is with me. So yeah, I pretty much you guys are my friends, man. You know? So I'm free. So Sandy said, "Oh, what are you gonna do now that I'm not home?" Probably go online and stream, talk to the guys and stuff. So I just so you guys know, I look forward to chatting with you guys because I really don't chat with anybody in real life. That sounds weird when I say real life, but outside of streaming, I don't really hang with people that much. If my wife isn't there, that's why I'm trying to explain. Like if my wife is with me, she's like with me. She's my best friend, so I chat with her, I talk with her, we watch movies together, we do everything together. But when she's not around, I that's why I come to you guys. So just want to say I thank everybody who's chilling and chatting, and because I'm free for the night until I got to go get my daughter. So other than that, Sandy's going to be out for a while. So I figure I don't want to sit home alone. So I'm just going to stream. So how do I say? Yeah, man. You guys are my friends, man. You guys are my pal. What's going on? My guy Holtz. So as sad as that sound, it's not sad, guys, because I've met many people from Canada to Tatooine to all around, and you guys have become truly my friends. When my wife's brother passed away, man, so many people helped and donated. The whole funeral was able to be paid for, and you guys, there's people who live millions, thousands of miles away, and we probably never meet in person. And you guys helped out big time. I mean, there's people that donated like $500, and we never met before. So yeah, man, that's just me. I've been super social. I was always the guy that go out. When I went to the movies, I'll have an entourage going with me. When I went to the club, everybody, people will call me on Fridays, "And what we doing this weekend?" Because I was the party guy. I was the social guy. Everybody, when I was younger and I had my first apartment, like Chris said it last night on the Game Awards. "Oh, I played that game at your house. You had it at your house." I had every system. My house was a fun house. Everybody came to my house. But now as I got older, um, I don't really get out that much unless I'm with my wife. I don't have an interest to go hang out with the guys, like I used to. So it's very rare, unless my one friend who got married, I think got married a year after me. He was the best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his wedding. Every now and then he hit me up. "I need a guys' night." He kind of needs to get away from his home so often, every so often. I love my life. Me and Sandy, the way we do things together, it's cool, So I don't feel the need to get out. I don't ever need a guys' night. But when she's not doing, when she's away, Um, I like to share with you guys. You guys are the people that I conversate with on a weekly basis when I do all these shows. So when I'm free and it's not a scheduled show, I got nothing to do. I want to hang with the guys, right? So that's enough talking. I'm gonna fire this thing up, but you know how it goes, guys. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Anybody who's free, come on the show. I want to just play some games, man. I want to play Unto the End because I know that came out, so I definitely want to check that out. So maybe we'll start it off playing that. I'll get my first impressions, see what I think of it. And last night I was up late, man. I was playing some chorus. Dude, they pulled off a flight game that's simple. And I heard you get some other stuff that even make it more simple and or more cool. So I can't wait to get to that. But it'd be cool if we play some multiplayer games, Wreckfest or whatever, some racing or whatever, run around, kill each other. This would be cool. But anyway, let me get the show started and I'll see you guys on the other side. But oh wait, and if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm the master of vlogging. That's pretty much when I'm walking around the house. Like right now, I'm vlogging. I'm also the all-purpose champ. That's when I'm playing the video games. And you guys know when you see that cowboy hat on, I'm always behind the scenes or behind the camera, hosting the show or being on the show. That's when the showmanship comes out. And if you piece those three things together, that's when you create the king of content. All right, now you guys know. Let's do it.
And now your mama knows.
Bruce, unleash the baby god dragon! What's going on? Wow, really? Hold on. What's going on, guys? It's the cowboy here. And guys, I'm here just to hang out, man. My wife is out, and I just want to chill and play some games and chat. So if anybody's free, jump on in and let's talk, let's chat. Anybody who's watching, let me know what you want to chat about. You know, if you got a topic, let me know. The Game Awards was last night. I'm shocked at Resident Evil didn't win. And I didn't like the way it ended, right? So it was weird. It was like they did the orchestra thing, which is cool. And then out of nowhere, they was like, Game of the Year. And then they was like, this game won. And the dude ran up and said, oh, man, this is an amazing accomplishment. Thank you. And he walked away. And it was like, all right, guys, thanks for coming out. This is a good show. Good night. And I was like, wait, that's it? It's over? So that was a little weird for me. But it is what it is. All right. And I'll make sure I pin it this time because I know yesterday you guys was like, what do you mean? The link isn't there. All right, so there's a link. Pinned it. Okay. It said manage pin. There you go. So all right. There we go. So let's get to these comments. Again, my guy Bruce was in here first.
Ron is in the building. Bruce said Friday. New friends. He said he met us. That's right. Holtz is there. Let's see. Bruce, unleash the Steam VR. And as you guys see, anybody could join the panel if you want. Ooh, you grabbed It Takes Two for you. See, now I want to play it, man. Now I really, really want to play it. All right, Mr. Urban got a question. Well, maybe the question isn't for me. Maybe the question is for Holtz. So, Holtz, Mr. Urban said, would you consider someone who uses Xbox Series S with Game Pass only a cloud gamer or a poser?
No, I think cloud gaming actually brings us to more accessibility on all our hardwares. So it doesn't have to be the biggest high expense hardware going. So I think that the Xbox Series S has a great entry level for people who actually want the hybrid approach. They still want their physical or digital and then cloud. I think it's a great medium to have.
And not to mention, they say they sell $200.
Yeah, to me as a gamer, I'm like, oh yeah, go and get the Series X because I'm a tech enthusiast. But to me, when I actually look at all the streams that I see online or on YouTube, the S is very capable for a lot of people's displays and cost. And cost should always be the major factor.
Me personally, I'm like you. If I was gonna buy one, I gotta go hard or go home. Like even when I was playing PlayStation, I only bought digital, right? But I would still spend the extra $100 and get the disc because I feel like it eventually come in handy. Like maybe I'll rent a movie, right? And I'll need a disc drive. Maybe my GameFly, right? They have yet to get into digital, which I don't know why you think something like GameFly didn't adopt digital renting. Why does nobody do digital renting? Why is that not a thing? You get demos, right? And then hold on real quick. You get demos and then they'll have a time and then it's over. So can't they just do that?
Well, you look at services like Rakuten and stuff like that. They actually provided discs, and they actually went digital, so they actually rent movies or provide movies. So I think your service should actually hurry up and go to that digital market if they can afford to. If they can afford to expand, then why not? You know what I mean? Because it might actually be a good little thing for them.
Yeah, because, dude, it would be so cool if I could. I mean, I know. So I get that they make. All right. So here's the thing. This is how services go. Let's just be honest. The more time you could get people not using your service, but still paying for your service, is when the companies achieve their goal, right? So for instance, well, insurance might be different, but let's just use insurance for instance, right? If 10 people are paying for their insurance, but 2 people used it that year, man, they made out pretty good, right?
Well, here's one for you. We've got this coffee shop called Pret and Manger in the UK, and they just done a $20 subscription where it's 5 drinks per day over 28 days, and it's $20 a month. But they forecasted that the average person only does 3 coffees a week. And then when they broke it down, you were actually paying them $8 more than you would consumed it. So you would have to overexert yourself to keep on shopping at their brand. So that's where the subscriptions got you.
And that's so with GameFly. Remember, I told you I rented Days Gone. Dude, I had it for 7 months. I'm paying 17 or like $16.99 a month, right? $17 a month. I played the game about 3 times, and each time I played it was no more than like 20 minutes. And I had it for 7 months. So if you do the math on 7 months, I could have bought that game like a bunch of times. So I guess if they did digital, I would have been like, oh man, I'm not playing this game. I'm just gonna get something right away. Like snap my finger and I would have get something right away. But it's still digital though, right? Like
yeah, so Mr. Edwards has said in the chat, like, what was the equivalent of GameFly in this country? We used to have loads, like Blockbuster and Love Films and stuff like that. But now we've only got like one major rental. I wouldn't even say it's major, and it's called Boomerang, where you can actually pay certain tiers to actually have loads of discs from certain platforms. So there's only one that actually name. I know Rock uses Boomerang, but I think that's the only one we've actually got.
That's cool. He said, why would you choose Series X over S if using only Game Pass. I think it's like a backup, right? It's like if I used to be a hardware guy or I used to be a graphics guy. I just it's just in my DNA that if I'm gonna like if I go out and buy a TV now, right? Like I heard people say just buy a 1440p monitor with 144 hertz, you're good, right? You don't need that. You'll spend probably like another $200 just trying to get 4K 144 hertz screen, and it's just not that big of a deal. I don't know. I'm wired where I would spend the $200 just to have the top of the line.
Yeah, I'm totally the same because like when they say like HDMI 2.1 and it
Mhm.
outputs at 120 frames and it does this and this and has a UHD player and it has a 1 terabit and this, I fall for that mark all the time because I want the best. So I've got the
Yeah,
options available to me, and sometimes physical actually drop cheaper than digital in my logic. But that doesn't mean I can't understand that
right.
the Series S is a better value for other gamers that do
Yes.
not have the need for XYZ hardware.
Now here's my thing, Holtz. I'm the guy that would get agitated if I had paid $300 for a system and I could have just paid the extra 200. And I'm not gonna get into you can't find it, you can't find. Listen, you can find it if you try hard enough. That's all I'm gonna say. So if I paid 300 and got a system and it was a new game that came out and my buddy got the X and I bought the S and my buddy's like, dude, this look, and my buddy comes to my house, right? And I'm like, wow, that game's look, he's like, the game looks pretty good on your TV, but dude, you should see my TV. And let's say we bought the same TV. And I'm like, what? So I go to his house. I'm like, damn, why I look better at your house? Because I got the X. I'm like, that would bother me so much. I'm just sorry. That's me. I would be like bummed out and annoyed.
Well, see, my friend, I've got visual impairment, and I go to my friend's house, and he's got an entry level 4K display,
Mhm.
and he can watch like Netflix at like an entry level tier, and to him it looks amazing. And then I go, well, come out to my house and watch it in 10-bit Dolby Vision at the
Ah,
highest tier. And he goes, yeah, but that's because you need to be catered to XYZ, more color, more brightness. And I go,
right.
oh, okay, maybe that could be true. That's why I need them. But to him, he's actually happy dialing it back to entry level subscription, Series S, and them games still look amazing to him.
Oh,
Where so if
I'm
I
pretty sure they do.
so if I say to him, "Oh, I need 4K HDR Dolby Vision," he goes, "Well, to me, I only need 1080 standard
Right.
definition. And it looks amazing." So you
Yeah.
can always compromise to people's user needs and costs and whatever.
And so think about it. I'm saying what I'm saying, but the average person watching could be like, "But bro, don't you got Stadia and your monitor, your laptop is only 1080p, right?" But it's like, yeah, you're right. But if I went out and spent that extra money, right? So I think my laptop, I got a good, well, first of all, I got a deal because Dell screwed up. So I was canceling my previous order, which was an Alienware, but it was ninth generation. And mind you, I don't know much about computers. So it took me like months to buy a computer, a new laptop, because I asked everybody, I did a poll on you name it, like I don't know much, right? So when they messed up my order, I needed the laptop on September 1st a year ago because that's when Marvel Avengers was coming out, and I was my whole big thing. I was doing a stream. I was going to stream the game all day, right? And I was like, I need this laptop September 1st. So they was like, no, trust me, you're going to get it. We got expedited shipping. It's going to be good. So I called like every Friday, just making sure, no, it's good. So then the Friday before it was coming out, or maybe the week before, I called and it was like, yeah, let me check your order. Oh yeah, we could be able to get that expedited. I was like, whoa, what do you mean you can? You already said it was gonna be expedited. It's like, oh well, unfortunately there was an issue. It won't make it there to like let's say it was a Monday, Wednesday. I was like, no, 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 no. I need it that day. It was like, unfortunately, there's no way we could get it there today. I was like, well, I'm canceling. And so I think it was like 13, it was like $1,300, right? So I was canceling and I was like, man. So I said, you guys don't got anything to say? They said, well, hold on, let's talk to supervisor. So look, we're gonna upgrade you. Mind you, I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I asked somebody who was helping me pick out the laptop, and he was like, yo, they was like, we're gonna upgrade you. We're gonna give you the 10th generation. I ain't know the difference between 9 and 10. It was like it's gonna be a 2060, blah blah blah, whatever. 10. 1080, but
But you see,
144.
the problem with the marketing is that they could say 11th gen, but that doesn't
Right,
mean the 10th gen didn't have more cores or faster processing.
right.
So
That's right.
once you hear it's the new gen, you fall for that
Right.
marketing. And just like Mr. Urbanworld just said there, the Series S upscales. Now, upscale was a dirty word the last
Yes,
decade
that's right.
because the
I
PC
was gonna say that.
gamers didn't want you to use the word upscaling for like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And now, because the narrative was always to have raw performance, the more teleflops, the more blah, 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 blah. But now we've learned, developers have come out now by saying teleflops means nothing. A game has to
Right.
be optimized to run the best on the hardware given.
Correct. Correct.
So now that is when Microsoft's came out now and said, okay, we realize that people don't come to our hardware because the entry level. So if we create a device that could upscale, they won't know any difference, and the game still looks gorgeous. They don't care about anything that's running in the background. They just look at the game and go,
Right.
wow, that's gorgeous. It doesn't matter about the resolution, it doesn't matter about the frames, it doesn't matter about what settings it's on, and it doesn't matter about a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think Microsoft's done good to
But
captivate a family audience.
yeah, you know what it is though? It's the guys like us that we're on Twitter and people who read Reddit and people who watch YouTube videos of people always have been opinionated, right? It's those people that's a trigger word. Oh, but it's upscaled, right? Because I was waiting to say something to Mr. Urban World, but it's just because that's what I hear. I don't even care, but I was gonna use that against them. Oh, but it's only upscaled, you know. But it's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, let's say my friends used to always say on the PC market, like, oh, you can get this game cheaper on a black website. Or
Mhm.
this game runs the best if you've got the best graphics cards. And I'm playing like The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, or
Right,
playing Xbox games. And I'm like, wow, to me, these console games look a lot better. And they'll go, no, you've lost the plot. But then I realized that was checkerboards upscaling. And the way they optimized it and configured the game, it does actually look amazing. So if you just step away from what the hardware performances do and do the games look gorgeous, and that's what we should go forward and say,
yeah,
do these games look forward? So Mr. Airworld, he's got a Series S. Does it not look lovely? So we shouldn't compare it to anything
that's right.
else.
Yeah.
Because to him, it looks
Well,
amazing.
I'm not gonna say that, Holtz. We always could compare. Now, listen, Holtz.
But
They
it's not
always could be a
but
little
it's
jerk
dollar to,
inside of you.
yeah, but it's dollar to performance, isn't it? You know what I mean? We can always say, okay, Mr. Airworld, for example, we can always get you bigger and better at what
Right,
cost?
right. Because if that was the case, all the people that's like, what? They got 3080s and making a mockery of everybody who doesn't have a 3080 nowadays.
But
Um
it's the same term like GeForce now using the terminology 3080, and I think
mm,
Nvidia is sort of overblown their graphics cards over the
right,
years. So I don't know what Stage is running at, and I just use the terminology up to 4K 60. So
correct.
when I see Stadia games, I'm like, well, I'm running up to 4K 60, and what are you running at? And they go, oh, 3080 ultra tier, and I'm like, well, ultra doesn't really mean
Yo, what does
nothing.
that mean? Yeah,
Ultra tier doesn't really mean nothing because like you can between ultra and high is not really that much different frames. What's the other settings? Do you have DLSS? Do you actually have down super sampling? Do you actually have downscaling to up the frames? But all they want to say is 3080 ultra, 3090 ultra, and I'm like, well, what does that mean?
yeah.
Where developers know what to tweak to make a game look actually gorgeous. So I think it's only marketing slang. So to
I
me, I'm
agree.
like, does a game not look lovely on Stadia? Yes. And when you go, oh, it
Well,
looks better because of this other tier, I'm like, okay, now you're nitpicking.
yeah, well, think about me, right? I definitely domesticated myself as far as the bigger and better because I have a 70-inch 4K TV in my living room and I'd never play Stadia on it. I just love sitting here in my gaming chair. And I used to have my gaming chair sit out there, right? But I just love sitting in my little area on my little 15 by 6 laptop. And that's how I game, man. That's how I game, you know? It's crazy. But
But it's so funny because when I was actually gaming,
mhm,
I stayed away from PC monitors for years because I believe that tellies had the processing power
right.
and could display a lot better. And people's like, oh no, monitors are always going to be better. Then when I got a new monitor, everyone was moving on to the displays that I was already buying in the past. And they went, oh,
Ah.
yeah, monitors outdated. I'm like, oh, you were telling me that monitors are never going to. So now I feel like I've just been cheated out of a purchase
Yeah,
just to follow a narrative. And of course,
yeah,
next year's narrative is going to be when CS comes out, it's going to be a new push for monitors and displays.
I will say this. I was thinking about getting a monitor. So I got my laptop, right? And my laptop obviously could hook up to a monitor if I buy one, right? Just right for the most part, right? Like laptops can hook up to a monitor, right?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Listen. Listen. I don't know that much. So I was thinking about getting a monitor. Maybe I don't know 40 inch because I was always go big or go home, right? But it would be cool to have, I don't know, maybe a 40 inch or something like that. Just get a 40 inch.
If I could recommend anything, it's just plug that laptop into your 77-inch.
Ah, man, but then I gotta go into the living room. Nah, I don't want to do that.
Exactly, but the whole point, I wouldn't sit there and say go and overexert yourself for a new display just to try and showcase something.
Well, no, but I mean, just to have a bigger screen just in my little corner that I like, I don't want to go in the, so here's the thing. In the living room, my kid's going to be walking by being all loud and it's just, a little bit annoying. So I was just like, if I did get a screen, I wouldn't get really big. I feel like 40-inch isn't bad, right? That's to me in my head. Well, I think my TV.
Well, see, over the past in PC worlds and stuff like that, I can't believe like a lot of people like, oh, you need this like biggest GPU, and then they're playing on 22 displays with like a low pixel density, and I'm like, wow, that game couldn't run great. And I'm like, I remember when PlayStation 4 came out, Sony said and developers said the next feature is not pushing resolution, it's pushing HDR. I remember PC gamers took years, like 5-10 years, to actually accept that marketing term that HDR was the new push. And now developers now are saying ray tracing and DLSS is the new push, not resolution. But for some strange reason, I feel like the PC gamers are still trying to push resolution and frames means something. And that is why I would say it's like making a chaos. Are you playing your games at 120? Are you playing at 240? Right. And they go, oh, we don't need that. And I go, oh, so you're not playing the market and push. But I still feel that a lot of people are pushing it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people are bragging on this power narrative. But then because we all could say up to, but you need certain resources to reach that up to, right? So, I could, 1440p 120. Okay, well, what's your monitor pushing it as? Or what game are you playing? Are you actually playing a game and you're actually able to pull that off? So I think what you said, like the Mr. Urban World, is perfect. Is whatever you're comfortable with. If your eyes look at it, whatever your eyes looking at, and if you feel like, oh, this looks great to me, and that's all that matters.
We live in a world where we shouldn't always focus on upscaling. There's actually points where a console or device could actually run at a native setting and down sample it to you, but it's sort of compressed where you still get 4K quality, but at a 1080 stream. So in the end, you're still getting more clarity, but it's sort of downsampled to match your display. So I think that's all great.
No, it's a good point. Now, what do you think about what Mr. Urban said? I don't know too much about Game Pass besides xCloud. Now, I thought Game Pass didn't have as many games on PC than it does on console. So
when I started on Game Pass, I was really excited that it actually brought tiers. It brought cloud, PC, and console. And over the last year and a half, they sort of fragmented the service, where I was not happy with that because I thought that I would get the game across all platforms. So I think it's a dirty move that Game Pass done this because, I want to have the flexibility. So if they don't get my dollars, then of course, they should bring the games across, because sometimes I've actually went, yes, this game's coming, and then I realise it's only PC only, and I think, no, that's because I just want to sit off play on my TV. At times, I don't want to sit at my PC, the most power-hungry device, power-hungry. I just want to sit off and play the most lowest form factor and have the game available actually on a download or cloud. Of course, cloud with my preferred reason.
Yeah. So what's cool is my wife plays on the TV, and I've been playing on TV a little bit because it's like cool. She just got her Stadia controller on the side of her bed. So the other day I was like, where's your controller at? And she gave it to me, and I just jumped on, and I was playing on the Google Chromecast with Android TV, right? Whatever, the name kills me. But and it was just cool just to real quick just play. But I like to get to my little station. That's where I felt comfortable. But it's just cool that we got a Chromecast on everything. So if I want, I could just grab control in my hand and walk out of the living room and then just fire it up on the TV out there. But I just like to be in my bedroom.
But go on, Mr. Airworld says, of course, when the game comes out, they want you to rush out and buy the latest console or display before the game's optimized. So I remember having a GTX 970, and it was 4 years old, but it could still play Horizon. It was Forza Horizon 4 up to 4K at 60 frames per second. And people are like, oh no, your graphics card's 4 or 5 years old. That can't happen. But the answer is yes. If a game's properly optimized, it will actually use the hardware more efficiently. But of course, NVIDIA and stuff like that do not want to tell you this messaging. They want you to always get suckered into the market to buy bigger and better.
Yeah. I mean, it is
definitely. I fall for it all the time. Like, wow, I must need this, and I invest, and then I always get stung by it. And then sometimes I'll go, okay, well, in 6 months these games be optimized, but by then there's another hardware. And it always pushes forward. So you actually should always invest on your budget and what you feel is best for your performance.
Yeah, because honestly, all the people that say like the 3080 is 30, and I give the 3080s credit. I call them the champion of the cloud because what they're doing is pretty amazing, right? I get to talk trash to the console guys, but for the people with the 3080s or the GFN, I could say 30. That's it. You don't got the 3090s. So somebody always could say something, man.
Yeah, of course. You sit there and you say to like GeForce now, well, it's great that you. But what about like the 3060 Ti's, the 3080 Ti's? Where's all the new graphics cards? You've brought something out that's over a year plus old, and it's like, where's the next step to WoWers? And when the next 4000 series comes out in a few months, will GeForce now offer us the tier to upgrade, or will they always just say the 3080 is going to be our benchmark for 2-3 years? So.
But you don't think it was going to be free, though, right? You think it's definitely going to... Would it be a cost to upgrade?
Yeah, it'll definitely be a cost to upgrade. But the whole point I'm trying to say is say on Stadia, we've got a game up to 4K 60 next year. And then a game doesn't perform well on the 3080. Our sort of NVIDIA going to be forced to bring the new 4000 series just to keep on pushing that narrative. So in the end, it could be like... how much is $16 to upgrade? How much is it going to be pushed to 20, 25? Are we going to the shadow tier? Are we sort of pushing more and more and more as we go forward?
Yeah, I agree. I think we had a really cool conversation yesterday on the Game Awards when we was talking about if Stadia upgraded, because it never clicked. Oh, let me say, what's up, Ray? Ray said he's driving and listening. It never clicked in my mind that I was always like, oh, if they upgrade, it's supposed to be free. But it's like, whoa. It is free. They will upgrade and it will be free. However, to access, because you already got into, I'm already in a platform that it costs money to play in 4K. So it would make sense that if it went up, well, let's say 4K, right? 30, but then if they did 120, blah, 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 right? So it just makes sense that, it would cost a little more.
Well, I don't think Stadia should actually upgrade to a point where they increase the tier. I think they should keep quiet and then just say Avatar runs at 40 up to 4060 and keep that narrative going. So every time a new game comes out, it's always at that mark in term 4060, and they shouldn't expand past that. So when graphics cards go, can you play the latest game? No, because my graphics card's getting outdated. I think Google should just sneakily behind the scenes just keep the hardware up to date where it plays them new games.
And that's what they said, right? They were going to upgrade and not say anything. So they did say that. But yeah, you got a good point, because I think once you and that's why I'm always like, I get people get on Google because they don't talk much, but anything, people could use words against you. So if you go out and say, oh, we got this, like me, right? I'm always looking for ways to say the 3080s can't do this or can't do that, right? Because they throw it in your face. So many people are like, aha, 3080s, and all the marketing was cool. And it was awesome.
Well, to me, the biggest push this year was GeForce Now and Stadia said that they'll partner with LG TVs. Now, it doesn't mean OLED. It could be mini LEDs or QLED and stuff like that. They pushed a narrative and they said they're going to bring their service to this display. And I always wanted native apps. And GeForce Now was first out the gate. And I thought, oh, wow, I've got a 3080 on the go. And then when I booted up on my telly, it was capped at 1080 60. And I was like, GeForce now. Are you telling me that you couldn't optimize the app properly? And there was a few people in certain panels that was like, oh, maybe your TV hasn't got the best performance. And I was like, no, my PC could run this. And then Stadia came out 2 weeks later and then went, boom, 4K 60. And I was like, Stadia, you've just proved to everyone that you don't need secondary hardware.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't need the best, because in TVs, not the best CPUs, but you've just demonstrated that streaming actually works natively on your TV better than a GPU manufacturer who's working with these displays. And I thought, in 2022, other partnerships of displays are going to optimize this approach for games. And I thought, Stadia, you've just proved something. If they came out at 1080, 60, I would have went, okay, limitations in cloud. But they've just demonstrated again that they can push this without secondary hardware.
No, good point. Because honestly, right, you can get into fidelity and how much is this and that, but dude, who could argue over if a game was just simply 4K 60, right? I mean, what more do you want, right? So yeah, you can get into 120, and a lot of people say when you go from 30 to 60, it's noticeable, but when you go from 60 to 120, it's not that noticeable, right?
But see, this what annoys me, that messaging. We're used to games being at a certain frame rates, 30 and 60. And what I say to people is, what, you're telling me that 60 FPS 10 years ago was totally different to 60 FPS now? And you must be, as a gamer, must be customized to 60 FPS. So why not have the biggest jump to 120? And they go, oh, well, it's not viable. I'm like, okay, but to a lot of people, jumping from 30 to 60 is a big jump. And they go, well, I get nausea. Yeah, because you're used to 60.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure new gamers now who've got 120, they're going to be saying the same messaging to you. And to us, it's going to sound outdated. So in the end, if a game can push 120, then we should actually push it on the developers' needs. But then that's what I think. We all should push on to 120 and ignore 60. But when PC gamers go, no, that's not the way it should be going forward, I'm going, oh, I think you're talking from a person who's sort of lagging behind now. Right. And then when they go, no, I'm not, I go, well, justify why doubling your FPS is not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, Cloudbuster says 4K 120, please. I'm going to be honest. I've been playing video games my whole life. And I think I only ever played one game on 120. When I played on xCloud, I tried Ori because it said Ori was a 120 game. Honestly, I mean, it didn't knock my socks off. Maybe I was playing the wrong game. I get that. Let me say this real quick. Stadia Pro Gaming, he is doing his season finale of Retro Rewind this Friday, guys. Retro Rewind episode 16. Retro Rewind episode 16, season 1 finale, December 12th at 2 p.m. CST. That's 3 p.m. my time. On this episode, we explore all our guests from season 1's Christmas Pass. Sunny Cloud Game will be on there. Rock will be on there, and so many others will be joining Retro Rewind. So, guys, if you didn't know about Retro Rewind, you better call somebody. So I'm going to actually put the link in here. I think you guys definitely should go and at least oh, what am I doing? I'm putting it in the wrong place. Let me use my phone. I think you guys should at least go and click on it. I don't even care if you leave this stream, but go click on it and hit the reminder at least. So it reminds you. It's going to be really cool. It's an awesome show. I was a guest on there before, and I might be on there Sunday. You'll just have to see. But it's going to be awesome. So let me put Retro Rewind. Go ahead, Holtz.
What I was laughing at is that when the PlayStation 5 came out, there was a big, huge push for 120 FPS with like HDMI 2.1. And I ran out and I bought my HDMI cables and I bought a display that will run it. And then my first game was Ratchet and Clank, and I booted it up. What that could the game could optimize for them performance, and it gave me a choice: fidelity or performance. And I was like, you're giving me a choice now. I'm sacrificing resolution for frames or frames for resolution. And then within 2 weeks, Sony went, okay, well, we'll give you 4K 30, but we're going to do an update that is like 4K 46 frames. And he would never give you the complete 60, but it was in between. And a lot of gamers went, okay, why would we want that? And bashed it. But to me, the game ran smooth, not locked at 60. And then when the 3080 came out and realized I had problems, I started saying, oh, you'd accept the dip in frames if it's not a solid 60. So that's why I thought to myself, oh, you're all changing narrative how it's all due to your hardware. So
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I think what has to happen is we have to get comfortable in our own gaming skin, pretty much. Like we always want to have bigger and better and talk bigger and better. And a lot of times it's really just talking, to be honest with you.
So in the end, I mean, you never hear me on past podcasts. Never say 40-60 like it's locked in. Just say up to 60. Right. Just say up to 60 and developer's choice and be happy with it. If you lock it into a certain standard, then it has to be standard across all the board. And that's what I'm trying to say. Just enjoy what you've got, and that's all that matters.
What's going on, DJ Grum and Cloudbusters in the building, Stadia Pros in the building. How is it going? Let's see. Yeah, I gotta definitely check out your Tuesday show again. It was crazy when I was on there checking it out. Guys, here is the link. Make sure you check Retro Rewind out. Just click on the link, guys, just to go to his channel and at least hit reminder. You definitely would like the show. It might be something new you want to keep in your rotation. So good stuff. So host, what's your favorite game you're playing right now?
Oh, what game am I actually playing now? Actually, the last game that I was actually playing was Halo Infinite. I was playing about 5-6 hours, and I sort of just like to step away. My head was swollen because my headphones were stuck on, and I was just involved in all the action-packed. Wow, this is amazing! But I've not touched it in 2 days because I've just been gamer fatigued. Because usually I'm not the game that actually puts 6 hours a day. I'm just usually a game that puts like 6 hours, 7 hours a week. So the only game I've actually been focused on is Halo Infinite. But I've just actually got given the 3080 tier, so there's a few games that I actually want to go back onto, like Greedfall, Biomutants and stuff, and just test it out. But yeah, I think the only one that really deserves credit at the moment is definitely Halo Infinite.
Gotcha. So you're playing Halo Infinite on your Xbox or your PC.
See, the whole point is I've tried it on my Series X, I've tried it on PC, and I've tried it on cloud. So I've got the flexibility because my devices are in different rooms. So I've got the flexibility to move to certain different places because I don't want to limit my devices into one room where I feel like, oh my God.
So you, but your PC, is your PC able to make it look better than your Xbox?
Of course, I wouldn't. I've got a 3080 in my local PC, and I've got a monitor that's got an aspect ratio, a bigger, huge, super ultra wide. So Halo actually optimizes the game to give me a better field of view and a wider angle of experience. But to me, I don't feel like my HDR on my PC display and Windows 10 is actually better than my Series X. So to me, I actually feel like just sitting on the Series X and play it on my TV, and then when I'm away, I actually play the cloud on my like portable displays.
That's cool.
But to me, I've actually got all around the house. I've got CPUs and I've got Premier Edition controllers. So I just like actually load and stage it wherever I go around the house.
Right. That's what I was saying. Just walk around and just walk in.
So when someone comes in and goes, I just go to the different screen, and 15 minutes I can just load it up. So when people go, I need this telly to watch my soaps, I'm like, do you think they're doing me harm? And I'm like, okay, bye. I'll just.
Yet when I used to stream on Twitch and I stream PlayStation, man, it used to drive me crazy when my kids would come home and let's say I'm just about to start the stream. I'm like, oh man, I gotta all right guys, I'm gonna restart the stream, or hold up. Let me close the chat. I gotta go in another room. And but I always had 2 PlayStations. Not always, but when I had 2 PlayStation, I would just at least be able to go get on the other PlayStation. But then the one PlayStation was a PlayStation Pro. So it was like, oh man, I want to play on a Pro. But yeah, it's pretty cool with cloud gaming that you could just walk like and just be your walking library. Like today, my Stadia Pro was playing Wreckfest, and I remember to bring my controller. I used to always leave my controller in the car, and I was like, "Oh, I'm playing." So I ran out to my car. Right, I go grab my controller, and I run back to the break room, and I jump in, and next thing you know, I got right in the match. As they was ready to like get people in, you could snap your finger, man. I grabbed my thing, and I was in the match with them. It was really cool just to think
Well,
about
I
it.
loved how gaming's evolved, and but this is unfair putting on a gender or like family time or stuff like this. But
Right.
I remember years ago, me and my girlfriend, I was playing Zelda, Twilight Princess, and
Mhm.
she was trying to be a little bit dirty talking to me and stuff like that, and she made me turn off Zelda Twilight Princess, and she went, "Ha! I just made you turn off your game." And I said, "Don't worry, babe, it's got auto save." And she was so horrified that she made me turn off a game, but I could still play it because it had autosave. So now I feel like as the generations has gone higher and higher, I feel that there's more obstacles in my gaming way. So family and friends, and they go, "Can I have this TV? Can I have this display?" And they think they're making you turn it off. But then all it takes is to pull our phone out or
Yeah,
go to a
man.
different hardware. And we're like, "Don't worry, you have that primary device. It's all right." And you go, "But I don't want you to turn off your TV or your game." You go, "Oh, don't worry, it's all right." And then we secretly sneak into another room and play it. And I think that's amazing.
Well, here's what's cool for me, man, and I'm gonna answer this for DJ Grom. What's cool for me is um when I'm watching wrestling with my wife, right? And we typically don't pay attention until like we're watching casually, but like when there's people trash talking or whatever, that's when I focus, right? It's male soap opera to me. But I would just sit there and play on my phone, like phone games or whatever. And when cloud gaming came around, it's like, dude, I could play my game that I don't play during wrestling because I typically always needed the TV. So I couldn't do 2 things at one time. So now it's like, oh, I could play a Marvel Avengers or chorus or whatever, right? While I'm watching wrestling. So that
And
I
what
think
and,
that's
what, and
pretty
what's so
cool.
great about this like whole cloud experience is that the boot up times now are amazing. We come from gaming where it used to take like 5-6 minutes just to boot up a game. So now we can actually go on our phones, play a game, pause it, turn the display off, and then as long as you keep on tuning every 15 minutes, we can just keep on getting minutes and minutes every time we feel like.
Yeah.
So when an advertisement comes in, we can go pick it up, resume, and then we feel like we're adding our time. And I think that's what's so great about.
All right, so I'm sure Ron is trying to be funny. He said, "I'm excited that Stadia rebranded to Google Play." So I'll get into that. But so um, DJ Grum, yeah, 9 to 5 is a game that's been on PC for some time, and it's now just came to Stadia on, was it Thursday, I think? If a free to play, or maybe Wednesday. And so it's kind of interesting because it's 3v3v3. So it's 3 teams of 3, and they're all playing. It gives a really good vibe of Rainbow Six. But what I like is that people die a lot faster, or at least I could kill people faster. And in Rainbow Six, I feel like I could never kill people. So I don't know why that is, but maybe you could take more damage in Rainbow Six, and I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of cool. You should check it out. It's free for anybody. That's another cool thing. So it's under the free game. So you don't even have to have a pro. You could just create a Stadia account right now and have access to play that game with people. And Holtz, isn't it cross-play with PC, I believe?
Which one's that? Sorry,
9 to 5.
I've not tried it, so I couldn't tell you. Couldn't
Okay.
tell you.
What do you think about Ron saying excited for Stadia rebrand to
Do you know
Google
what?
Play?
I really think it's actually a great move to actually rebrand as Google Play or maybe YouTube Gaming.
Hmm.
But when Stadia released, I don't think Google Play actually had the Play Pass or Apple Arcade was actually threatening anyone.
Hmm.
So I think Google was just edging the bets to test out streaming technology, and then who knows, in the future it would be implemented into play games or
Right.
YouTube games. And to me, I wouldn't care as long as my Stadia library integrates into the
Yeah, I
ecosystem
mean,
of Google, it wouldn't bother me. So when people laugh and go, oh, well, the Play Store's got more reach than Stadia.
right,
So to me, if Google just want to merge it, it's a great step forward,
right.
and I wouldn't be at loss. So when people try
Um,
and laugh at me by trying to say, do you think you're
right,
going to lose Stadia? Well, to me, it's not just about the name Stadia.
right.
It's about Google's infrastructure of cloud that brings over what they've already
Yeah,
delivered the last 2 years. Because a lot of people don't even remember that Play Games never used to have a streaming option. That's actually only been quite new. So 2 years ago, if it had the streaming option, then I would have started saying, oh, well, Stadia was pointless. But
right,
Stadia was
right.
actually new in pushing innovative gaming, cloud gaming. So to me, I'm like, I have respect for what it was. And if it, in the future, if it merges, then I'm at no loss.
Yeah. And to answer your question, realist, how you doing too, man? No, they're not rebranding. What happened was on the video game awards last night, there was a commercial for Google Play, and there was no commercial for Stadia. So some people was like, "Oh, how did they show that and not Stadia?" But to be honest, Holt said it though. It's a bigger brand, and their big deal is now you can play games on the PC. So you play Android games on your PC. So I even said it, me personally as a business, and I don't know how much leverage they had and how much screen time they had to advertise, but if I had to advertise that over Stadia, I would advertise that. Like Holt said, that reaches way more people. That's a bigger brand than Stadia. It just makes sense. Everybody know what Android, what Google Play is. Like you just know unless you're an
But I
iPhone.
feel, say
Mhm.
Stadia came to Google Play 2 years ago. I think people would have insulted that branding 2 years ago. I think it's only as Play Pass has sort of evolved and Apple Arcade has evolved that we
Mhm.
see value in the service. I'm sure if Stadia came out 2 years ago on that service, we would have all been laughing at it. It's a mobile experience.
Well, we definitely would. That's how we're laughing at Netflix right now.
They're
Netflix
only
gaming.
they're only accepting it now that the Play Store is relevant is because it's coming to PC. Just
Yeah,
like
but I don't.
PlayStation Now was coming to
So,
PlayStation PC.
so I don't look at it that way, host, because I've known that the Play Store. So I've been an Android guy. So I don't know if you're an iPhone guy or not, but I've been an Android guy forever. And you just know when you download your games, you get it from the Play Store. When I download KineMasters, the app that I use to do all my editing on my phone, I had to go. Like you can't go nowhere else unless you download an APK.
Well,
So like I feel like like the Play Store is just something that's been in my life for like ever.
well, to me, mobile devices are more Android, but more
Mhm.
home hardware and more Apple. These Apple
Okay.
TV or the iPad and stuff like that. And years ago, I'd laughed how we were always tit-for-tatting where to buy our movies or streaming.
Hmm.
And the best thing to ever happen is Apple TV come to multiple devices or Google Play services come to iOS. So
Right.
I think everyone wins if we just have this openness to expand. And I think that's what Google and all these other services should do. Put your service on everything and let the gamers decide where they want to play.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Because it used to be a time where I would look at like, oh, well, crossplay, right? So if you don't have crossplay, then you'll pretty much buy it on whatever console where your friends was at, right? But it's kind of like let it be crossplay, and then you pick and choose. Now, it's probably not that great for somebody like Sony, who pretty much was killing as far as having selling the most consoles, because now it's like the guy who got an Xbox and his friends all playing on PlayStation. Now that one guy don't have to say, "Oh, let me suck it up and buy it on a PlayStation." They could just keep their Xbox and play a game with their friends. But I get business wise. But then Xbox wouldn't mind, or let's say Stadia. Oh, Stadia would love it because now they could offer to their players a bigger player base without having to increase the Stadia's player base.
But to me, I've actually been seen on Twitter and I've been seeing a lot of people bashing Stadia since the Game Awards, which is really confusing me. And I'm thinking, are you using your bias because you're disappointed with Stadia? Because to me, I feel like they didn't underperform compared to other competitors. Because when I was watching that stream with you guys, I was like, okay,
Hmm.
Square Enix showed Forspoken and Square Enix pushed cloud gaming. But it's not like they came out and said, we're pushing for spoken on PlayStation Now,
Correct.
xCloud, GeForce Now. And the whole point is Hellblade 2, Setsuna's Saga, they
Mhm.
didn't come out and say, this Microsoft title is now coming on the cloud. And it didn't. And then Wonder Woman, which is a DC
Right.
Warner Brothers game, and so is the Suicide Squad, they never came out and said, oh, this is coming on our partnership clouds. And then we look at like Star Wars Eclipse. They never came out and said, because we're partnering up now with our new games on GeForce Now or xCloud, you will see this game only on them services. So I feel like a lot of cloud services drop the ball. But that doesn't mean we should actually be insulting everyone and then at
Right.
least saying to Stadia, you had nothing. Because in my eyes, no one had nothing because they're keeping the cards to the chest.
Well,
How they're
see,
going forward to next year.
I looked at it like that too. Like everybody's talking about where's logos, where's logos. I was like, dude, if you really want to talk, first of all, there were some games that had 0 logos. You don't even know if it was PlayStation or Xbox. Then, like, how many of the cloud services did you even see on games? So if that was the case, we could be like, oh, you was only on 2 games out of the whole show. Like, see, there's always a perspective to look at it, right? So one person might say, oh, we were on 2 games. But then another person, like you take a console guy, he might be like, 2 games? That was it? And you're bragging? So it's always a way to look at it, you know?
But to me, it was like Atlas, Persona 4 Arena, and there was Final Fantasy 7 Remake Integrate. They're coming to Epic and Steam, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. It could be on cloud if GeForce Now would hint with their partnerships, and he never delivered. And I'm like, okay, that's not because I'm bashing GeForce Now. I just stood back and went, okay, time will tell.
Right.
But I just didn't like the way that sort of Stadia came out as the losers, the basher. And like you just said, the logos weren't there for any platform for the
Right.
majority of the games.
Yeah, like it's, you know. But you know what's crazy? This is just what happens, man. People are territorial. What do they call it? Tribalism. But I think people are gonna just more and more like what they like. So right now it's more like people are like, oh my god, stage is gonna die, right? I think there's gonna become a point in time, like you would never say PlayStation is gonna die. That would sound silly. You wouldn't, excuse me, say
Well,
Xbox is gonna die. It would
no,
sound silly.
I've actually heard a lot of people gamers say Xbox is going to die, and
Well,
Wii U is going to kill Nintendo, and
mhm.
Sony PlayStation never had no games. But over the years, they were proving wrong.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I remember people laughing at me in 2000 when the PlayStation 3 came out. Sony has no bloody games. And I was like, are you not playing Killzone? You're not playing Resistance? You're not playing... And they were like, oh, you don't have the other games. And I'm like, okay, time will tell. And who's got the last laugh now? And that's how I feel now with clouds. We will all get there at one
yeah,
point. And we'll all look back and we'll all this tit for tat, we'll laugh about it. And that is why I feel like sometimes I feel like I have to attack GeForce Now, not because it's a bad service, it's because they're pushing the marketing at the best performance and the best partnerships. So all I'm trying to say is if you're going to attack everyone else for not bringing stuff, then we should be
yeah.
looking at the biggest cloud gaming service, the biggest performer, the biggest storefront reach.
Yeah, because I do feel like I'm extra critical on GFN because when they launched talking about the 3080s, dude, I was literally asking all these questions because I was excited. I was like, that's powerful, right? And then when I would pay attention and watch videos, especially your video was you're literally when you made that statement on CGX that day, that literally made me say, okay, I gotta make a video because you was just naming so many games or companies. I was like, oh, I was just shocked because I feel like how they don't have that or that. I just
So
thought that would have been
I
standard.
was banging on for years, for 2 years, not years, but I was like, okay, you've got Square Enix games. Where's your Final Fantasies? Where's your Dragon Quests? Where's your, Kingdom Hearts? And people are like, Holtz, that's your game. I'm like, yeah, but these games are huge if you want to push towards a bigger market around the world. And then when I realized, I was like, okay, where's the Bandai Namco's? Where's your
Right.
Dragon Ball Z's? Where's your Project Cars? Where's your... And then I started realizing, there, you've got fighting games. Where's your Tekkens? Where's your Mortal Kombat? And then I started realizing they were very limited on genres. So I was like, okay, on time they might get it. But as the time progressed, I started realizing, wait there, they're dropping the ball somehow. Is this the developers holding back or the service? And then when I started seeing other people getting these titles, I was like, wait there, at least they're in partnership with these developers. So to me, I was sort of edging towards another service. Why GeForce now, it's not a bad service, was getting left behind.
Good point. Let me answer this question. DJ Grum said, Cowboy, how are you enjoying vlogging every day for a year? Do you regret it? Or are you still loving it? So, you know, it's funny. I said to my wife last night, was it last night? Or maybe it's 2 days ago. We were in the hot tub and I said, what time is it? And she was like 11:18 or something. I was like, damn, I want to put out a video every day. And I was like, I'm not getting out the hot tub just to make a video. And I left my phone right in the other room because obviously I made a video when I was in the hot tub once, right? So I was just like, man, it is what it is. So in a weird way, when I got out the hot tub, I was like, all right, let me make my video. But there's times where a day will go by and I forget. And I'm like, oh, I got to hurry up and make my video. And now I got to come up with a random topic or I want to say something, right? Because I said I'm vlogging every day for a year. So I actually missed 2 days, if you guys didn't notice. And you know what's cool? I didn't get backlash. I was waiting for somebody to be like, oh, you said you was gonna vlog every day. But I missed one day. I got super busy and I just ended up missing it.
Well, I think what you've done well is you've explained that life can take you in a certain path with all your content. So you just said that you'll make it up in certain times, and sometimes it'll change, and the pace will change. But to me, I always thought like you would have a camera in your hands recording multiple instances of your day. So I thought you would never be out of ideas for vlogging.
So it's funny because, okay, Monday through Friday, I get up, I go to work, I take my lunch break. A lot of times I make content on my lunch break, but like I got a bunch of old videos, like I just need to get out reviews and all that, right? Or ideals I put together, or I'm always working on the video, splicing it together, right? And I keep videos in folders, right? So then I get off work, I go home. I always do a show about 5:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that's about it, right? And then another show on Thursday nights. So then I do those shows. So then in between all of that, somewhere it's always the same. So if I just walked around, you'd be like, I mean, I seen you walk out your job the other day, or I seen, right? So I would be vlogging the same stuff unless on the weekends where I kind of we always go to dinner at some point, blah, blah, blah. So I just figure, okay.
Are you the type of guy that wants to try something new, or at the moment you feel like that you're restricted to actually go to different places because of the vlog? Now
No, not at all. No. I just figure I'm gonna just do the vlog whenever I do the vlog. But there's times where if I forgot to do it and time is like I wanted to do it every single day. Then when I missed my first day, I was a little bummed out. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna do 2 vlogs, and no one said a word. No one said, like, I thought I was waiting for somebody to be like, oh, what happened? I mean, I was already over 30 days, which is impressive, but nobody said anything. I was like, oh, the people are kind of cool about it. So then I said, okay, I'll do 2 that day just to make up, right? So I did 1 earlier and then I did 1 later on. So then I thought to myself, or you know what? I changed the name. I was even calling it Vlogging Every Day for a Year. Now it's catchy. It's called Vlog 365. So it's probably just going to be a thing I'm going to continue to do. So what it did help me out with is when I would do like Thanksgiving, typically I would record every part of the day, probably would record like 30 minutes to an hour of footage. And then I would cut it to a 10-minute video. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make my vlog be just my Thanksgiving video. So I got crafty. I even made my video when I talked about Stadia being free, and which would have been a Trash Talk 101 video. So you know what? That's just going to be a vlog. So to answer your question, to come up with something every day is a little challenging because I want it to be creative. But at the same time, I got to be realistic. Like, dude, you're going to do one every day. Obviously, it's not going to be like mind blowing every single day. So I just need to not be so hard. I'm hard on myself because I want to make it compelling vlog every day. But it's like, dude, that's not going to happen. So yeah, in a little way to answer DJ Grind's question, I don't say I regret it, but part of it is a little annoying because if let's say it's around 9 or 10 o'clock and I'm like, damn, I didn't do it yet. Now I got 2 hours before midnight. So I got to do it, putting it together has been really easy, which is cool. Because I'm used to doing all this editing and editing. Now I've just said, you know what, the vlog is teaching me, dude. Just say what you gotta say, and then slap on the outro, throw on the timestamp, and then put it out there. Instead of me, I got always got to make the little funny voice and the yellow and the zoom in. I love that stuff, but it takes so much time that's why I probably got 100 videos that I've recorded, but I never put together, like literally. So hopefully that answers the question. Well, let's see. What did Ron say? Candy Crush on Stadia. Hey, listen, I play Candy Crush. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. If Google owns Apple Art, well, not Apple Arcade, but they own well then, all right. So I guess maybe they would have to have some type of contracts, because I was thinking, how cool would it be if there was an Android version, like an Android page on Stadia? So you turn on Stadia, you got all your stuff, and you hit R1, and maybe it'll switch over to Android. What is it called? Google Play. And any game on the Google Play Store would be on the Stadia. Like you could access it that way.
Well, I was on Brandon's show about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and I came up with the idea that if Stadia could bring like a PlayStation Home environment, then they could make your avatar flip out a phone, and as you flipped out the phone, you accessed the Play Store and you dived into them games. That was how I pitched it. So you just went into the Play Store. But a lot of people sit there and are sort of backlashing against the Play Store streaming, because they're trying to say, well, the size of these games are small, so why would I want to stream them? Because data is more valuable than storage. So I think there's going to be a backlash, even if Google push into that store.
So tell me, so is it game you could stream now from the Android? Like, all I know is they said they was coming to PC. I just took it as you could now play games that you would play on your phone on PC. But is there something extra? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a subscriber to Play Pass, but I'm pretty sure there's actually a stream option. I actually did hear there's a stream option for certain games. And I don't know if that's a big game or that's Candy Crush. But the question is, would you stream Candy Crush? Would you sacrifice your data for something that's literally small you could play on your phone?
So what would be the purpose of streaming it and not downloading it if you're on your phone? Like
I guess it's just getting used to streaming, or it's just a convenience factor.
Right.
Because not everyone's going to have like these 128 gig phones plus.
Yeah.
And maybe if streaming becomes more of a thing, maybe the prices of hardware become cheaper and cheaper because people are using less storage. Because we all know the storage factor of devices are the things that are up pricing it, aren't they? I mean, to me, I've stepped away from storage years ago because I'm all stream. So maybe that's how people should start seeing gaming, even mobile gaming. They should just start seeing maybe it might be more effective to have a very well optimized low bandwidth. And when I talk about bandwidth, I'm talking about really, really low. So who knows? A few kilobits might actually run this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would just, if I like a game that much, I used to be a big phone game. I used to be a guy that played a lot on the phone. But Ron said competition has caught up to Stadia. We need games now. I just think Stadia needs to keep doing what they're doing. There are always going to be naysayers. They just need to do a slow burn. Keep bringing up. Listen, put your little statement out there. We're going to have 100 games this year. And I feel like this. You're never going to get every game you want. And I don't care what platform you go on, whether you're on PC or a console or a cell phone. There's going to be another console or another platform or there's going to be some game that you might have interest in that you can't get on your preferred way to play, right? Unless you just play everything. So that means there's not going to be one device that's going to have everything. Now, with that being said, I think Stadia, for me, and it's just for me, right? I think it was cool that they said we're going to have 100 games in 2021. And guess what? The other day, when the course came out, that was the 100th game, they met their goal. Now, if you comb through, ask yourself how many of those games was for you. If it was only one, maybe it sucks. If it was 30, maybe that was cool. But Stadia just needs to keep pushing, saying we're going to get games and we're gonna get games. That's all I want them to do, because I know that means they're growing, right? Some people might say, how are they growing? They lost NBA 2K, right? But then they got Farmer Simulator 2022, right? Whatever. We go on and on. But if they're still bringing games, I don't care if the next 2 months all you got was indie games. Games are still games, and games are coming. So I see that they're growing, and if they're growing, I know they could continue to grow, and that's what I just want to see. Them just keep getting games, keep getting deals.
To me, it's like, why should we actually, once again, we mentioned this at the start of the podcast, why should Stadia keep on pushing the tech when they came out with great tech initially? You know what I mean? And I believe that they came out with great tech and great games. I'm talking from a gamer who actually bought 29 games over the 2 years, plus the pro subscription. So I've got a really good adaptation rate.
Right.
But to me, as long as they keep on delivering games up to 4K 60, I will be happy. They don't need to push a native 4K, and you don't have to push past 60, as long as you've got a great game that runs on the service flawless. Because to me, my Stadia experience has been as amazing. So I just feel like the games that I've talked about over the years to 2 years, people could say, Holtz, who cares about Attack on Titan? Who cares about Dragon Ball Z? Who cares about Mortal Kombat? Destiny? And they can keep on going. And I'm I care. But then they can always bash and go, but that doesn't mean nothing to me. And that's what my attitude's going forward to them, saying, well, okay, you're asking for games that I would never buy in the first place. So Stadia's doing well to market to me. And soon as they grow, they'll cater to you. Or there's other services that don't cater to me, like GeForce Now, because they're more simulators. But over time, they will actually get me more involved the more I start being vocal by saying, well, I would love to join the service if you brought this game. And that's where the partnerships behind the scenes work.
Yeah.
And I think it's more important to focus on the partnerships with the developers than we ever do focusing on tech. Because you know what? 2 years ago when I started Stadia, I never believed a service could run up to 4K 60. I was like, get out of here. Get out of here. And when I loaded up, and I just I bought like Final Fantasy 15 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm thinking, this is going to be a joke, because I seen someone with a latency of 12 seconds do a jump in Destiny, and I went, oh, I've made a bad investment. And I plugged it in. Oof, it ran smooth. And I was like, oh my God, my brain was like, I can't believe my games are playing in the cloud at this setting. I can understand if they came out and said 1080 30, like other services, that would have been acceptable. But going above and beyond was amazing. So at the moment, I feel like they can sit back on their laurels for maybe another 2 years and just keep that standard of up to 4K 60, and I won't blink an eye.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just makes sense, right? The people who, you got to think about it, it's 2 years, right? It's young as far as getting deals, right? You got to show that you're a proven service, right? So just let them keep growing. That's all. Once it's like a given, like, oh yeah, Stadia, it's that cloud gaming service. Oh, GFN, it's that cloud gaming service. Oh yeah, xCloud Xbox got xCloud. Once these things become a household name, or at least people know of it, then guess what? These companies are going to want, because the cloud is evidently the future of gaming, right? Not saying console is going to die, but companies going to be like, oh yeah, we want more money, so we want to put our video games on more services. Oh, let's put the same game on Luna, GFN, Stadia. It's just like PlayStation, Xbox primarily get all the same games.
But to me, what I love about the cloud service, and Google's just done it, it's just like a page out on live and stuff like that. I mean, doing that competition, what game out of the two should get 75% discount, to me was a big, huge push. So what I want the community to start doing with Stadia or other services is tell the service what game we would like to see to be discounted after, of course, a time period, say 6 months.
Okay.
And then we can sort of have a process of elimination each round, knocking out games. And then the winner of that month gets discounted 75%. And then the runners up get like 65%, 50%. Oh, wow. And just have us more engaged by saying to the service, we would love you to interact with developers to bring these costs to us, because that's how we would invest.
Right. And to make sure they don't lose too much money. It wouldn't be forever, but it'd be like that month, maybe, or maybe a week, maybe a week.
that whole, to me, even a day special is great, but as long as you sort of get the community engaged by saying, what game after 6 months would you love to see heavily discounted? Because I don't care what platform you're playing at, Valhalla at $15 is a steal, even after this time. So
so DJ Ground said mods. Cloud doesn't have mods though, and that bugs me. You couldn't have Kerbal Space Program on Stadia.
but to this point is the Xbox head in chief, he was trying to say that xCloud was going to bring mods, and GeForce now they were saying they're going to bring mods, and they said that like very a year plus.
Right. What up, Caliber? Attack on Titans has never been on sale. That's what Holt said.
Yeah, to me, that was one of the biggest games that I actually wanted to play on Stadia, and I waited because I've already owned it on another device, so I was waiting for a double dip. You know what I mean? And I waited and waited, and it just dug its heels in, and it never went on sale anywhere else on other platforms. Maybe $10 off, but it was never a solid dip half price.
How is that game? I watch a lot of video of it, and it looks cool. It reminds me of Shadow Colossus in a faster way. But then there was that one game I played it. It was like a ninja game where you can jump up in the air and you had to fight giant creatures. You cut their legs off and they fall to the ground. And you had to cut their head off. It was actually kind of interesting, but it was like cell shaded.
But I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it, and they brought like season 3 expansion for free. So to me, it was well worth the investment, especially on the cloud servers. And like I said, I wanted to buy it on Stadia.
Yeah. Here's my question for you, Holtz. Because Mr. Emerald's in there. I forgot what was your take on what's your take on VR?
I just paused that Alexa for some strange reason. I keep on triggering her off. I don't know if you keep on hearing the beeps. Every time I said Stadia, it was like, Alexa, I'm not listening. But to me, VR, I was a big, huge push for the HTC Vive. I remember buying it, and I remember it being like a big, huge push. And I bought it, and I remember playing Project Cars. I remember playing, oh my God, it was Elite Dangerous and stuff like that. And I was just getting nauseated from it. So I sort of stepped away, and then a lot of gamers were saying to me, oh yeah, it's because they haven't got the correct frame rates, they haven't got the correct screen performance and stuff like that. So I sort of stepped away from VR, and especially because the games that were coming out for the first few years were absolutely crap. They were sort of cartoon games. They weren't games like Mr. Urban World's talking about, like Resident Evil 4 now. So I stood away. And now I'm actually hearing gamers speaking about Resident Evil 4 VR, or the quality is amazing, makes me want to invest in a VR. But I do actually think I should be I should step back a little bit and see what more people say before I invest into the hardware, because it is a lot of money to invest in sort of this new way of gaming. And of course, we can say that about cloud, but I think VR is more immersive. But I feel like it's more demanding on cost, performance, and how people can tolerate being unimmersed from the real world and immersed in VR. So I don't want to be spewing up everywhere. I don't want to be smashing stuff in my house. I don't have the space. So until they start actually bringing headsets that, if they could bring a cloud VR headset, I'm all in. But I'll still be stationary with sort of like a VR.
Well, they said the Quest, you're not hooked to wires or anything. Now, I was just talking to Mr. Irma on them. I didn't realize there was PC VR. So I didn't know that was like a thing. And apparently the graphics and stuff is amazing on that. He was trying to explain that to me.
What really wowed me was I remember seeing people playing VR chat and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, wow, that's what I want to do. I want to start walking around a VR world and start speaking to people and playing pool and playing darts. I thought that would be great. But I still wanted all the best games to come. So I wanted gaming as a whole to sort of support VR, but I don't see it as a big, huge push going forward. So maybe Sony might change that, but I think it's still a niche market at the moment. But I'm really glad that actually, like, people like Mr. Urban Worlds actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, he's loving it. That's cool. And Bruce likes it as well. Spectre, we were talking about Attack on Titans. But we wasn't really talking about the anime. We was mainly just talking about the games on Stadia, but it never went on sale yet.
And to me, of course, I want games to go on sale, but I actually still like the way developers can stick their heels in the ground and say, no, this is a quality game like Nintendo usually does, and just keep the price by saying it is a well performed game and that's the price it's going to be. So there's two sides of me. One that wants it cheaper, of course, but some that actually appreciates the developer holding their value in the title. Because there's nothing worse, is it, when a game comes out, usually like a Bethesda or a EA game, and within 3 months it's dropped like 75% worth of value, and then people go, "Oh, it must be a crap game because it dropped so fast."
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I played Iron Man for like 2 hours on the PlayStation, and dude, I will say it was awesome. Like I was just felt like I really was flying, but it was annoying. I think what Mr. Irwin was saying that the wire, I still had a wire. So at all times, if I was turning and turning, I kind of felt the wire hit me, and I didn't want to trip over. Also, I played the Batman in VR, which was cool. It looks cool, but VR isn't something I could picture playing every day. Like, you know, maybe I would play it. I don't even know if I play it once a week. I don't know, you know. But maybe I guess it all depends. You get into playing games with friends. Let's say you got a couple friends, hey, let's get on the same time. We play a multiplayer game, or oh, let's go chill in the theater, or like you said, shoot pool or whatever. It sounds cool. It just sounds a little out there for me. Whereas I guess maybe I've been playing games my way for so long. And I think Mr. Urbanrow had a point. He said VR will outlive consoles. I think maybe because eventually consoles are pretty much just lead into VR in a weird way. I mean, it'll be like the future and all that stuff. So
No, but you know, we're talking about. I don't know about how Mr. Evan Wells. I don't know what VR headset he had, but VR's been a thing for at least 20 years.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't on the. Was it? Oh my god, what was
We're
that
gonna talk
VR?
about the Virtual Boy.
The Virtual Boy. That's it. And you know, and people was like, "This is VR gaming." All
Yeah,
them
I had
years
one.
ago, and then as we sort of progressed over the years, people was like, "Oh, VR is going to be a thing." So I remember when Oculus came out and HTC Vive came out, I remember believing the mission. This is the time for it, and it was the wrong time. I invested at the wrong time, and now we're talking about what, 8 years, maybe
Mm.
7 years, and you think to yourself, I just don't want to get involved into a messaging that it
See,
might not work for the games that
n-
I want to play.
now you know what pushed me aside because I went all in on 3D. I was so into 3D Holtz, it took me by storm. I had the HTC Evo, which was a 3D phone. If you go, and I told the story before, if anybody's listening that missed it, if you go to my YouTube channel, that's was in 2011, right? My very first few videos, it shows this double side by side. You might be like, what the hell is this? Because I recorded in 3D. So back then, it made it double screens, and when you put it 3D on, then it put it together, so you had the foreground and the background. Dude, I was telling the story. I bought the 65-inch Sony TV, 3D TV with five 3D glasses, which was $150 a piece. When I say all in, I was all in.
Do you know what's so funny about this story is I give my webcam to my brother just to test out some equipment. But the other day, I actually found my old Sony 3D TV that I got with the PlayStation. I bought it as a bundle with the PlayStation 3, and I just found the glasses the other day. And I was
Wow.
like, "What the hell's this?" And I threw it to one side because weren't there like different modes of like there was like passive 3D and there was something else 3D. There was different methods to 3D.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't want them glasses. There was active 3D. Some you had to put a battery in and stuff like that. I don't know which was
Right.
which. But I just threw the glass on the floor like, what is this crap? But I
Oh
remember
man.
years ago being exactly
Yeah.
the same. I remember buying my first ever 3D Blu-ray. I think it was Avatar, and I've never been blown away. But as time got on,
Right.
I started realizing I wasn't happy sacrificing color and brightness because of the sort of dark glasses. So
Yeah.
if they could adapt them glasses to sort of get rid of that sort of the grayness, the grey tint, I would have sort of been more up for 3D. But
Yeah, man, I was big into 3D, man. I remember playing Resistance Fallen Man, because that's one of my favorite first person shooters. And what's up, Crow? And man, I remember playing that part 3, and just, it was a thing, but it was weird. It just slowly, I don't
Do you
know,
know?
just
Do you
wasn't as
know one
popular.
thing I actually fell into? The move controllers. I remember when
Ah,
Killzone
six
came out.
axis.
The move controllers, and you put no the one with the big huge set. They're still, I think they're still used for the VR headset.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
And and I remember buying a gun trigger, and I remember playing Killzone. Like, oh my god, this is Killzone 2. This is amazing. This is the way gaming's gonna be. And it died so quick.
Yeah.
No one even cared about the move. And then Sony was that even cheeky that when they brought the VR headset out, they sort of implemented all the wasted move controllers that they still had. So,
Man.
and
Yeah.
another one. I was sort of into photography, and I remember buying like a 360 camera, going, "This is going to be the future. Immerse yourself in 360," and then it just didn't take off.
So I was big into the 6 axis. I remember they had the game called Layer on the PlayStation 3, and you hold a controller and make the dragon fly, and then when you yank down, the dragon dive, and people didn't like it, and so much so that the company made a patch so that you could use the regular controllers. And I was like, no, I will not use it. I'm playing the game. I beat the whole game using 6 axis because I thought it was so cool to turn real quick, and your dragon turn, and you yank up, and you
Well,
know
I remember playing Heavenly Sword when that came out, and that used the
yes, yeah,
six
talk
axis.
about it.
And there was a part where like a frisbees, and you had to sort of, navigate the sort of whatever your frisbees. And I remember liking it at first, and I realized we're absolutely crap with the six axes.
Oh man, that was
And
good.
there was also Killzone 2 on the sniper, where
Mhm.
you could use the six axes to move your sniper range. And I remember just being absolutely crap at it, but my other friend, he was a beast at it. And so I love the flexibility it brought gamers, but I never thinking to myself, I'm turning this option off. It's absolutely crap.
Oh
But if
man,
I guess if you
no.
got used to it, it
Yeah.
would be a feature that was used in today's
So
game.
so on Heavenly Sword, remember you had the part where you had to shoot arrows. Dude, it will be cool because you shoot the arrows, they go in slow motion, and you're holding the controller real tight, real tight. Don't move, turn, and you will miss. Like, come
Yeah, but
on.
there's
And
nothing worse, is it, when you thought you were all lined up, you took a breath, and it
yeah,
just
and it,
it's
oh man. Yeah, Caliber. I was saying that the 3D glasses I had, man, they was $150 a piece, dude. And I bought 5 of them. It was ridiculous. I was all in, man. Listen, Miss Urban, so the beauty of the Quest 2 is that the games are optimized for it. You can use it for cloud gaming. You can use it for non-gaming, like attended concerts. Oh, see, that
when
sounds kind of cool.
when I
Visit
bought
theaters.
when I
Mhm.
bought the Samsung VR for my mobile, I
Mhm.
remember watching like Circus to Slay, and I remember being on the moon watching Netflix, and I remember seeing like I was sitting there watching Paul McCartney and Wings, but then I realized they were only demos, and
Right.
it took ages to bring actual content, and I just remember thinking to myself, this can't be right for something that I've invested in. So it's just weird now seeing the experiences here are for other people now.
Mhm.
That makes me go, is it time? Should I come back? And if it's crap, I'll be like, damn you, Mr. Urban World. Damn
Yeah,
you.
right. Ah, he said he enjoyed Heavenly Sword more than God of War. I mean, it all depends. God of War 3 still for me is awesome. But Heavenly Sword, man, was really cool. I beat it a bunch of times. I don't typically beat games more than once. I beat them and I'm done. But Heavenly Sword, I played a lot, especially with the 6 axis. It was just fun. And when you get to the last stage where you're super powerful and you're fighting like all these characters on the screen at one time, it's just epic. But
I mean,
yeah,
one of my best moments in Heavy Sword was like the big baby and the guy who played like sort of the evil character who was
yeah,
he was the voice actor of Gollum and
yep.
stuff like that. And the way he treated him, I remember thinking about wow. And I think that was when
That
they
was his
started
son
bringing
too.
that's when he started bringing mocap into gaming. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this looks so real, and
Right.
the actors are so good that I remember thinking, oh, well, this is gaming, and I just remember having a blast with it.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? The girl who played Noriko, which is the main character in Heavenly Sword, the girl who when you play chorus, when she does the voice, I don't know if that's another voice or her own voice, but when she does it, like when she like whispers kind of, because I guess it's like what her mind is telling her. I'm like, man, that voice sounds like the girl who did the voice acting for Naruto. It's funny. Bought my old TV, didn't want 3D, couldn't find a TV that didn't have it, never used it. Yeah, so you know what's funny? I had that Sony TV, and then I was out of 3D, and I bought my 84-inch TV that I destroyed on video. If you guys ever want to check that out, epic video. Never tried to use 3D on that. So, but you had to have a 3D Blu-ray player and all that stuff. You know, it was cool that the PlayStation 3 was one. So,
But I'm sure, was it the Bravia range? The Sony Bravia range that had like the 3D. That was a
yeah,
big huge push.
it was Sony. So whatever Sony was at the time.
See, my big thing the way I bought it, I remember, I know a lot of people might not remember this, but the Bravia TV had PlayStation Now. And I remember when that got took away from it, I remember being really peed off because it worked really well.
Right.
The Bluetooth pairing to the telly and playing PlayStation Now worked really well for me. And when a lot of people was like, "Oh no, 720 never worked; it was crap," I was like, I remember back in the day having a TV. Well, of course, it was wired at the time; it wasn't wireless.
Right.
It was wired, and I remember thinking, "Wow, this actually worked for what it was." But of course, they weren't high demanding games; they were sort of like, of course, the early PlayStation 3 games.
Man, some of those games. Remember when they Uncharted? Oh man, the water used to look so good.
But I mean, so, you know, I have to give credit to like a company like the Engage, the Nokia Engage, or like the Sony Xperia Play device, the phone. Because I remember having a flip phone where I used to flip up, and I used to have a D-pad, an X square, triangle, circle with some bumpers at the back. And I remember thinking to myself, this is the future of gaming. And of course, that died. I feel like I don't have any luck in what I actually invested.
Hey, listen, man. You know what it is? You never know. And sometimes we're into certain stuff. Like Stadia Pro just bought a nice new TV, so that's pretty cool. And I know a lot of people are interested in buying new TVs because of Stadia being on TVs. Me, I look at it like this. There's no point for me to buy a new TV when I barely play on TVs, or I don't really. I mean, the TV in my bedroom is, I guess, 1080p, and I don't watch that much TV. But all my TVs have a Chromecast, so what's the point of getting a newer TV just to say Stadia is built in?
And that's what's so great about the Chromecast. It makes the TV smarter.
Yeah,
it gives it upscale. But for all these people like saying like buy an NVIDIA Shield TV or buy an NVIDIA Shield Pro just for upscaling, or buy a CCU. I feel like that if you're going to buy a new TV at an entry price, then factor in the price you're going to pay for that hardware, put it towards the TV, and then the TV will run native apps and have the upscaling and all that.
Yeah, so make sure you got TV that. Yeah, definitely.
Just don't fall for that messaging the guy in the store. You need these HDMI cables, because TVs these days will run all your streaming services, NVIDIA, GeForce Now, and Stadia. So, and it'll only get better in the next year. So, don't rush out and buy, of course, at LG. Wait until you trust your own TV manufacturer that you want to trust, because these will all be coming in the next year or so. So, if you want Sony, Samsung, they'll be here. Just sit in your laurels, wait till next year's Black Friday, and we'll all be laughing next year how we've all either got the native experience or a Chromecast, and in the end, it won't really matter.
You know that's going to be the case too, man. Oh man, let me see. Miss Irma said, I purchased 30 PlayStation TVs for $15 each, sold them for $30 each.
Do you know what? That was another one. I was a big, huge PlayStation Vita supporter, and of course it died because of Sony after 2 years wasn't supporting it, and so on. It died very well. And then they brought the PlayStation TV out where you can still put your cartridges in, and it was sort of the Vita, because what the Vita should have done was put a HDMI cable in the base, but it never did. And a lot of people said there was an expansion slot to do that, but they never did. Then they brought the PlayStation TV. So I remember buying a PlayStation TV, which was sort of half the price of the Vita, and then I still didn't use it because it wasn't supported. So I feel like,
well, my issue with like handhelds, like the Vita and all that stuff, is just I was just so against buying something that would make me buy the same game twice. So like if I had Tekken on my PlayStation 3 and then my PSP, I would have to buy the PSP version. They used to drive me crazy. So I never supported handhelds. Only
Where
ever
to me,
owned. Mhm.
where to me it was like Street Fighter versus Tekken versus Street Fighter. It was there was Uncharted game, and there was a Killzone. There was other games that supported the platform. There's God of Wars and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
there was a couple.
And
Yeah, yeah, yep.
I
A
felt the
couple
need
Resident
to
Evils.
invest, but then it just the investment weren't worth
So
in
I
the end
just looked at it
because
like this. Why am I gonna buy that game, that PSP version, right? Which they did have different games, but the graphics, like at the time, I was into my the biggest TV, and graphically, I was like, "What? This is never gonna compete," you know? I
so
got sucked into all of that stuff.
so we were saying this at the start of the podcast, but
Mhm.
Zero Games for me just mentioned he's got a 1080 display, but super sampling for the win. And to me, that is a great way to look at it
Mm.
going forward. That if that's what meets your requirements, and it does look good, it does look sharp, it does look crispy, you got HDR, and then maybe you got some textures that have just been super sampled. So it's all great. So we shouldn't fall off that market. And I've got a 4K TV, you got
Right.
1080, yours must be crap. Not really, because even looking today when we bought plasma TVs still to this day have still got a high contrast ratio and still perfect good
Right.
colors. When I say perfect colors, so we shouldn't all be insulting display tech. Oh, you got LED,
Well,
you've got OLED, you've got this, you've got that. It's all terminology.
how much do you know about playing Stadia on the web browser? And like people got these extensions. Like I know that one dude, Christopher, makes some extension for Stadia that a lot of people use. Like what advantages does that give you versus
To
just
me,
like
I do not install any extensions.
okay,
I'm more just like it's got to be supported by the developer, and I'm not really I'm not a guy that sideloads stuff on
hmm.
devices, and I'm
I
not a
never was
person
into it.
that trusts extensions. Now, a lot of people go, "Oh, it works," and correct, it does work for a set period of time, and then when an update comes, it's broken. So that's why it's great that you can show the developers that it can be done, but that doesn't mean you should be trusted to install all these extensions, and we should use that as a standard to test cloud gaming.
Yeah. Yeah, I always worried about installing stuff and then it's slowing down my PC or something happening in the background. So this laptop I got, I don't do anything but play Stadia and stream. And I use the only thing I really downloaded was OBS and I don't even use it anymore. So like not I don't have to worry about anything crazy happening, you know. Um but I guess I'm a little paranoid sometimes. But I feel like, well, if people are doing it's technology, like you can add an extension and like he just was talking about the super sampling and stuff, and they could tweak things just to make things look better. That's interesting when you think about it, though, because I know technology is moving and moving, like upscaling and all that stuff. So I just didn't know if that was like a thing. Like, do they have extensions that make Stadia look better? Like, is that
Well, I
supposed
don't
to be
know.
a thing? Or
I remember when Stadia first came out, and a lot of people was like, "Oh, it's crap on the browser, but amazing
Mhm.
on the CCU." And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, why is that?" And you have to realize, is it because of the sort of restrictions your PCs are full of spyware, malware? Is it all the extensions clogging it down? Is your cache being cluttered with X, Y, Z? So
Right.
I thought there was loads of factors where we don't really see this on the CCU because it's got no memory, what I know, in like you can physically store stuff. It's just a thing that's designed for streaming. So that's why I never invested in the CCU TV. I don't want storage. I don't want stuff that needs to be clogged down. I just want something that works with my assistant, my phone, and cloud. So I don't treat it as
Yeah. It's interesting though when you think about it that you could like think about it. Just upscaling is crazy when you think about it, right? It's like, oh, it's 1440p, but we're gonna upscale the 2K. It's like, wait, what? What
so.
you just
Spot to
said?
Stadia Pro said I got the best. I've got a great monitor with the Shield TV. Did they say?
So I got the best spec monitor I could and use the shield. I'll be happy. Yeah, because he just bought a new TV. Um he didn't even get it in the mail yet or get it yet. What is being shipped to you, right?
You see, This is why I didn't like the NVIDIA Shield TV or the Pro. To me, I never thought it was ever designed as an official streaming service box. I thought it was always designed for people to sideload stuff and sort of get illegal streams and sort of use play.
Right, like a Fire Stick.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So I never actually ever seen it as a device that developers could say, we need to bring these services, this platform, because there's demand for it. So I felt my services were always restricted, but I know a lot of people praise this device. And then every time I keep on saying to people, well, why are you praising the device? What features and stream quality and bit rate and bandwidth performance does it allow? And they were going, oh, heck no, I'm just watching it for streams at 720. I'm like, oh, so it's not pushing what I need it for myself.
Zero Game said, I'm forcing the 4K stream on Stadia on my PC. Looks sharper. And XBMC.
Exactly. XMBC. Even back on the day on the Xbox and stuff like that, yeah.
Shield TV was only a device for GeForce Now back when it was called Grid. Yeah, I don't know much about GeForce Now back in the day. I didn't even know anything about on live.
I had early access on the GeForce Now, and that access to the library was what made me want to talk all day about GeForce Now. And then I remember buying into it the first few months, and when they took away them developers, I remember thinking to myself, wow, I've just been literally everything that I wanted in a service just being took away from me.
I'm texting my daughter and she didn't respond to me. What's this girl doing, man? I gotta pick her up at some point and she's not I wrote her and she didn't answer. Don't I got her? Let me see something. If I have her friend's phone number. Kids, man. Hopes.
Well, see, what was so funny, because, you know, I've been a singleton for a while, and my sister-in-law and my brothers and stuff like that, they started in life like, oh yeah, I'm married, I've got kids, this is the way going forward. And now I'm 35. Now when people go to me, do you know what? Holtz, don't have kids. And I'm like, I never had any plan. But I remember it was like a sort of a prestige thing to have. And now they're like, no, don't do it. And even my sister-in-law could even say about my brother, don't get married. And I'm like, that's my brother you're talking about.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, no, it's funny because I'm so this is like so bad to say this, right? But I say this all the time. Like, I'm just being real. You give me a time machine, I'm probably not gonna have kids. Because I would go, they'd be like, but those are your kids. I'm just gonna be selfish and I'm gonna go back and change some stuff in my life, right? I'm just saying.
There's Cowboy looking back at a picture of his kids from like Back to the Future, laughing as they fade away.
Yeah, right. I did it. It worked. It worked.
I mean, but of course, the only method you've got is your hot tub time machine. That's all you've got. Get into the hot tub.
It hasn't worked yet, so. Oh man, it is crazy, man. My daughter got into a bunch of trouble. I didn't really talk about it on camera, but oh man, she was out of school for 15 days, and in order to go back to school, I had to have a hearing with the superintendent of the district. So the superintendent of all the schools, the principal, had to have her see a child psychiatrist. It was just crazy. And,
the only thing I know about like superintendent was not like the Simpsons Skinner. When Skinner's superintendent used to come in, Skinner.
Yeah, man. Change the locks, Cowboys. Should have never see that coming. Well, it's funny because today she's still on punishment, but she only is out with her friend because she came home and nobody was home, and she still doesn't have a key. And so when she tried to get in, she couldn't. So she walked to her friend's house, and so she was like, "Hey, I'm at my friend's house, so could you pick me up here?" So I was being nice. I was like, "Look, I'll let you stay out a little bit longer, and then I'll just get you."
Do you know what? My mum and dad, you know, back in the day in the 90s, if they wanted to punish me, like, do you know what, Holtz? Young Holtz, I'm taking away your Game Boy. And even if I got access to the Game Boy, doesn't mean I had access to batteries, because the batteries were downstairs. And then if I tried to be smart by trying to play like the Sega Genesis, and they used to just turn the electricity off upstairs to the bedroom from the. So in the end, you could never win. But kids these days, it's like, okay, ground me. I'll just use my smart TV, my
Yeah,
phone.
man. Dude, my stepdaughter, she was grounded for like 8 months, and we had no clue she had a spare phone inside her pillow. Like, what the hell?
That's clever. We only think that happens in prison, but now they've got it they've got it on the walls, in the roof. They're clever.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Crazy. Yeah. But yeah, man, don't have kids. I'll just get that out of the way right now. Don't do it.
Now, that is one feature that I remember was worried about cloud. I remember when I first got my PlayStation 4 and stuff, I tried remote play, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. And I remember thinking to myself, why is this not working when I've tried like OnLive and I've tried certain features? And then I realized it was my infinite internet infrastructure. And then I realized the modem router that was given to me by like the service provider was outdated tech by years.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started realizing. So then I went out and actually bought a proper router and I connected it.
Now you said what? You said remote play?
Your remote play. And that is what I was trying to say.
What PlayStation does?
What PlayStation done, yeah. And I was a bit worried at first, but then once I actually got a proper router and I sort of done my house up properly, then remote play worked. And then when I was passing the controller to my friends, because remember you could do like a friend share, and you could pass the controller to your friend. When his internet was set up properly, we realized that it started to work. And then that's when I started having trust. More trust for cloud. Still a little bit of doubt, but then I started realizing as long as my infrastructure in my house is set up properly, and then when I first got Stadia, it just worked. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to say how it evolved over time because of remote play and stuff like that. And now I can be around my friends. I can remote play my Series X, and the game's running flawless. And I'm like, I'm using my own bandwidth, my own hardware, and it's running amazing.
So I heard that PlayStation 5 remote play is really, really good. PlayStation 4 was decent, but you could tell, like you could see that it didn't look that great, and you could tell, but it was pretty good. Like it was good enough. So that's what I love with cloud, because for me, cloud is like perfect to me. But I wonder how good remote play got, because I feel like, why don't Sony, like, okay, if they could say, listen, if you buy a PlayStation 5, if you commit to spending that $500, our remote play is it's almost flawless, meaning it's comparable to cloud gaming, meaning that will allow you to use your mobile service, will allow you to use Wi-Fi, so you'll be able to download the app, the remote play app on your PC. You'll be able to download it on your phone, and it pretty much would be cloud. I mean, cloud, if you just don't think about how cloud does what it does, just know that your game is coming from somewhere else to your devices. Well, your own PlayStation 5, your game is coming from your PlayStation 5 to your devices.
Well, that's what me and Game Tech Planet said when the Series X launched. We're trying to say that cloud to us is using a set of hardware to stream over the internet. It doesn't matter if it's our own hardware, or it doesn't matter if it's a big, huge data center. And people's like, oh no, but that's how it shouldn't be perceived as. I'm like saying, okay, it's not saying the ultimate cloud experience, but to me, it's still cloud.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I get remote play, but what makes it so different from cloud? So I just feel like that would be one answer, though. Wouldn't that be a cool answer to counter cloud? Like, you know how Sony isn't really in the game as far as cloud. Like, they have PlayStation now, but I feel like they're not all in yet.
Well, I felt like cloud was an amazing tech. I'm seeing Stadia and GeForce Now and xCloud work up to a certain performance. I knew cloud was working for me, but I didn't want the hybrid approach. I didn't want the sort of, the option to download, then stream, then have a cloud option.
Right.
Because I was selfish in what I was experiencing. And then the more I actually started seeing people's problems in trust and how they perceive tech and perceive their bandwidth, I started thinking to myself, well, maybe we should actually focus on a hybrid approach to sort of warm people in to cloud. Because I thought it was a race. I thought, like, look, it's working. But I'm not speaking to the masses. A lot of people weren't speaking to the masses. But what like Xbox is doing is a good win. What
Yep.
Nintendo's doing is a good thing. What Sony's doing is a good thing. I'm not saying that we should crap on like GeForce Now or Stadia. I'm just trying to say that maybe a hybrid approach was welcoming more people to use their last gen hardware, use their last gen controllers.
Let me ask you this: if Stadia came out with a box that maybe costs $59.99, right? And it was a little box, so it pretty much was a mini console, and you put it under your TV. If Stadia originally came out with the ideal, would that be a good thing or not? Because how many people would be like, dude, it's still a console, right?
Well, I think a lot of people didn't like the idea of using a Chromecast Ultra because it was sort of casting from displays. But to me, I was like, I moved on from remotes. I was like using my assistant to cast Netflix shows, or I was using to cast Stadia. And my phone was always a thing for me. So even like when we talk about Nintendo Switch, they didn't have an integrated chat because they started realizing people were using their phones for either apps like Discord or that they didn't need to integrate it themselves.
Right.
But of course, there was a backlash. But to me, it made sense. But to use the CCU or to use the phones. But to a lot of people, they're not me. They need to have a little box. They need a pairing control. They need brands. Right. They needed to see something to invest in.
Yes. So here's the thing, because that's how we've been triggered. But look, this is important. So Stadia Pro said those poor consoles, LOL, they will never shut off, cowboy. Now here's what's funny. A buddy of mine knew I was really, really into Stadia, right? And so I used to get backlash and everything for Stadia. So, Stadia's been out for almost 2 years. I think in May we did a wedding. No, we did a wedding October 2nd. We did a wedding October 2nd. And he's a DJ. I'm an MC. So we're behind a DJ booth and nothing was going on. So I didn't have to do any announcements or anything, right? And he's just got it on autoplay, right? So he started pulling a PlayStation controller out of his bag, right? And he hooks it up to his phone, right? And I'm just watching, trying not to say nothing. He was trying to be slick so I could kind of see, because I did this to him when we did a wedding back in June, right? So he pulls out the phone and he's like, and we both was Destiny heads, right? He's like, "Oh, I'm about to play Destiny." I said, "Cool, man. I want to see how good it," because he got a PlayStation 5. So he tried to turn it on and it wouldn't come on. He was like, "Oh, you know what it is? We probably had a power outage, or no." He said the internet probably got knocked out, because it always happens at my house, and so it probably shut the PlayStation. It probably turned the PlayStation rest mode off. And so Stadia Pro has a point, because that's the issue. I don't have to worry about Google. Hey, make sure you keep my PlayStation on. Nobody touch the PlayStation, because I don't have to worry about that. That was the only thing with remote play. You had to
two things. My problem is that exact the same. I've got like a pay meter. So if the electricity goes off, and I think that my consoles are still set in standby mode, nothing's installing, nothing's updating until I actually turn on the console and go, wait there, it's been off for days.
Right.
And then I realized I have to install stuff. And another one was, I was a huge PlayStation Plus subscriber because of the cloud. And I remember my PlayStation 4 corrupted the hard drive, then updated the corrupted save to the cloud and overwritten my cloud save because it was automatic. And I remember thinking to myself, wait there, what's happened here? And then I realized if the hardware gets affected, so does the cloud. And that
is crazy.
So that's why now I'm happy to sort of disconnect my cloud content away from my hardware in certain features. So
yeah. I mean, I got PlayStation Plus just because I knew you needed it to play online. But I didn't even think about the cloud in that sense, that it was saving some of my game saves and all that, I just knew like, it had this separate feature that was kind of saving things. So I like lightly kind of.
So to me, what I really liked about cloud is, apart from not cloud, the PlayStation Plus, was because it allowed me to like have a primary and secondary device, and if I was moving between console in the house, I could transfer my save. And I was going to my friends where I was stuck, I could download the save from the cloud to his. Gone are the days of carrying a memory card around. And that was all I was using it for. But now, as clouds evolved, I can go to my friends. I can walk around to my friends in 5 minutes and go, I was stuck. Just get me a controller, type in the URL, and I'm playing straight away. And he's like, what?
Uh,
And
yeah, man. Me joining Stadia Pro's game this afternoon on lunch break was really cool. Like the fact that I just ran out and you know, I ran like, oh, I went to go in the break room. So I went and sat down in the break room, right? And then when I went in the break room, I seen that he was streaming because I watch a lot of YouTube during workday, man. I catch like every show and just listen to it, right? So when I seen he was streaming, I was like, and he was like, "Who's jumping in?" So I wrote, I said, "Dude, I'm jumping in. Let me go to the car and get my controller." And he was like, "Cool." Dude, I was able to run to the car, grab my controller, get back to the break room, and jump in. And like that, my controller was connected to my phone, and I was right in on Stadia. Now, the only weird thing was I tried to connect through the app, and when it showed me going into the game, the app like closed. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna turn it back on. I'm gonna just go to the web browser. Went to the web browser on my phone, and it brought me right because I heard him say, "Cowboy, press ready up," and I was like, oh, I'm actually in the game. So even though it shut down, but again, this is the cloud, I was in the game. It pulled me in the game. So it pulled me right in the game, and I was right there, hit ready up, and there we go.
I remember playing Destiny, and I remember like back in the day, if you're online and it kicked you out, you got disconnected from the service, and then that's it. You had to boot up the game again. I remember something happened in Destiny, and I was like, "Oh, quick!" I ran round to my friends, and as I ran back to my friends, there was my player just standing there, not disconnected from the server. He was just standing there. I was like, "Wow, I can still move." I didn't have to boot the game and just loaded instantly back into the server, and I was like, "Oh, hi everyone." Didn't even know I was gone. They just thought I was standing there for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So
I
I thought
think
that was
that is a really cool thing, man. You get up to 15 minutes and you're just there, you know? That is
and we
really
all,
cool.
and we all know, because even when I walk from room to room, if I know someone's sort of bothering me in a certain room, I'll just ask the assistant to move it to a different TV. So as I'm
Mhm.
sort of huffing and puffing, I'll just move to the other room, and it's already transferred over to that display. I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. Oh, wait, let me find out my daughter responded. All right. Let's see. All right. So did you play Unto the End?
Onto the end, no.
Okay, yeah, it just came out today, so at some point I want to check that out.
The whole bit is, like I said, I've just been invested into Halo. I've been waiting for this franchise for
Mhm.
years, so I've sort of just stepped back. As you know, we all admit we can't be everywhere playing everything.
Yeah.
So I'll watch creators play it, and I'll
Mhm.
sort of decide if I actually want to invest in it. But I'm not, unless it's my games that I'm already invested in months in advance, and I click
Right.
pre-order, and I can talk about it left, right, and centre. This game is sort of just slid under my detection, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean I wouldn't say I won't be interested in seeing what other people say about it.
Well, you know what? I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, but I feel like these subscription services are only good to me if they have a game that I was gonna buy. So if they end up having a game that saved me money, then it's worth it. But the part that makes it worth it is knowing, like for instance, Wreckfest. All these people are playing Wreckfest now, and if I didn't have Pro, I wouldn't have had it. Like for instance, Suave, he's new to the community and he doesn't have Pro, and sometimes I feel bad because he'll be on a show, excuse me, while we're doing multiplayer, and he's not playing because he don't have those games. And I feel like, dude, that's not my fault. We all got these games, so I don't want to not play these games with my friends because you don't have Pro. So I that's one reason I keep Pro, just in case, you know,
Well,
multiplayer games come out.
I was on a panel about 2 weeks ago, and I cancelled my Stadia Pro because I wasn't going to use it in December. It's not the price. It wasn't the value. I still love the games. I still love the idea of what it brought, but I just needed to step away for 1 month. And everyone went, "Oh, Holt stepping away from Stadia Pro. Has this ever happened?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, but I'm going to come back when Life is Strange remaster that gets offered in January or February, and then I'll just claim me December's game, and I'll be back on track with all the games that I want to play in up to 4K 60. It's just at the moment I'm invested into Halo because of Game Pass. But once I finish that campaign, I'm moving away from xCloud. There's nothing that would hook me to stay in. So I just felt like that I just need to save that how much Stadia was, even though I could afford it. I just didn't want to waste that month of money.
Yeah.
But people thought it was like a betrayal. I'm like, wait, whoa, you're taking words out of my mouth here. I still figured there was value that month for a lot of people. I just felt like I just didn't need the 4K 60, and I own most of them games, so I didn't feel like I needed to, jump into this month. And I think, and that's what's so great about cloud subscriptions now. We've got the flexibility where we can start in an instant and just carry on with what we've got or what we're going to gain, or no one's really losing anything, are they, when it comes to like Stadia, unless you stay off like for 4 months, that you've missed 3 months worth of games. But to me, that's never going to happen. I'm always going to be playing, always going to be wanting the best quality. And then if I tune in 3 months later, I got 3 months worth of pro games. Then if you went, Holtz, come and play this game with me 3 months later, I'm like, okay, I've still got people to play with.
That is a really good loophole. I was telling my wife about that. Let me see. So I was going to join Stadia's Pro Wreckfest this morning, and just to show you. Oh, here we go again. Let's see.
He always does it with an intent. You have to respect Mr. Heaven World. He does it for intent, doesn't he?
Yeah, man.
How dare you? How dare you?
I can't believe you.
You were supposed to be the chosen one. How dare you?
Let's see.
But like I said, I'm very careful. There's a lot of people that I felt over the years, I'm cancelling my Stadia Pro. I'm just saying this on Twitter because I'm cancelling because it's crap. I'm like, no one cares. Where me, I'm more like, I cancelled it because I was focused on somewhere else, but I totally respect the service. You don't have to diss it just because I don't want to be the fool that comes back months later and go, sorry, I dissed it. I'm back. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that.
Well, I'm the weird guy because I canceled my xCloud for real this time. Last time I thought I tried to cancel it, but it looked like I didn't have an account. I was like, what? I do got an account. So I just thought it ran out, and then I got charged. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I did cancel it, but I wanted to be petty and say, I canceled my account. Look, guys, to make a post, but that's just stupid.
Because we can all be like that, can't we? Okay, Forza Horizon 5 and Halos came and went now. What else have you got? But we all know that in time they're going to drop some games that are going to cater to someone that does sound amazing. So we all shouldn't be that spiteful person that goes, I cancelled it. Yeah, it was good for what you had in that trial period or that month where you're just being caught off guard. You tried a few games and then it sort of just made you think this service is not for you. But it's great that you stuck with it, you tried it, and you realised where your value is going forward in subscriptions.
Yeah. Well, you know what my thing is that it's because I'm such a very specific person when it comes down what games I want. I just feel like that typically, like I could totally not have Stadia Pro, and I would be fine. Like well, 2 years I had it. There were some cool games, but I can't say there was any one game. Okay, let me look at this. Did I beat a game that was on Pro? Probably not. So,
well, one of my favorite experiences was I was in the car with my brother, sister-in-law, and my nephew, and I was like, "What are you playing there, mate?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm playing FIFA 22 on my iPad." And then I realised it was my FIFA 22 that I've shared on Stadia, and because I wasn't playing it myself, he's got access to it, and he was just conveniently sitting there on 5G playing it, and my sister-in-law went, why is that your game? It's like, that's my game on my library. And he's like, oh, is it? We just didn't know where he got it from. And I was like, oh, he's part of my family library. And he was just sitting there going, what, isn't FIFA on iPad? And I'm like, no, it's not an iPad, that's Stadia. And he was just, I just remember being blown away that younger people at age 8 was using it for these games. And of course, they step away, depends on how their friends speak about like certain games, like the Fortnite, the update or that, but they constantly go back to Stadia to see what's on there. So maybe next month they'll be like, where's my Power Rangers? Where's my this? Gone? They'll click on where that the Stadia Pro is not on this month, and then they might kick off So I feel that intimidated that I need to jump back in to get them 100 games back, because God knows what the family would say.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Hey Holtz, is this your friend right here?
Holtz, man, why do you shows with this guy? Oh, I don't know. It's XS. Who's XS?
Well, it's I'm assuming that's that's Cloud Gaming Extreme. Extreme
Yeah, I
XS.
know, but XS is
Oh,
the gaming the
yeah, that's the
gaming side
gaming.
of it.
Yeah. I don't know who could that be. I always just say it's Ace, but you never know. Ace always does the rounds, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah, man. Let's see. But this is cool though, Holtz, because you like I said, I was doing nothing, man. I this is my way of kind of hanging out. And so it's just cool just to chat. I mean, that's all we're doing is chat. We could have been on the phone talking, so I get a chance to I look at it like that. Like I could have been on the phone talking to
Well,
somebody, but now I get multiple people to talk to.
I seen you starting exactly the same, and I done this of COVID, and life is just restricted us. But now I'm speaking to like people from Japan. I'm speaking to people in America, and I thought to myself, I would never have this in my local area. So I think it's fun. So when you started this podcast, and you're like, okay, I'll get people involved to speak to you, just as friends, as a community. I thought, wow, that's great. That we can all just laugh and joke as games and gamers, and we can just all talk. Ace, the great guy Ace.
Uh-oh, that guy, the sheriff, man. Those shows. This isn't a show. This is just a talk, man. This is like no preparation. We're just talking. So
the point is how I roll is I was just sitting there. I was watching the Royal Family with it's a UK TV series from years ago, like 20 years ago, and I just watched like the Christmas specials, and my phone beeped, and it was like the Cowboys on at this time. So I was like, okay, I'll tune in and see what he is, because I'm always a bit like, I'll step back if you got some guests, because I want to hear their opinion. I can't always join on, because it's always interesting to hear what the community is saying at a certain time. And as we know, we've been on here speaking about Stadia, GeForce Now. We've seen some Xbox fans. We've seen play, and I was just sitting back going, "Oh, Cowboys free to talk." And I thought, I'm going to jump in, relax tonight, and just talk about anything. And it's always been fun, even like when we see like Mr. Urban World or Mr. Bayron Plays speaking about anime, or people speaking about this. Or VR. I just thought it's just a great way to express and see if the community can relate to us. And I sit there and look. Chat, and I think, oh god, I could definitely have you as a friend. And when people are like, oh, do you want to do like shows and we should add each other, I'm like, I definitely need to add all you guys and on multiple platforms and just have a laugh about these.
Yeah, man.
Because my friends are not, and family are not really gamers at this age. So it's great to see a different community online where we can all be connected at different times of the day.
I think what's cool too is that we're just randomly talking about a lot. So sometimes we learn stuff from each other, and I get my mode when, let's say I do the opinionators with Jeff, right? And I'm, I'm kind of dolling it up a little bit. We're talking about the Stadia community and whatever nonsense, but like this is just straight, just sitting back in my chair. I'm, writing my daughter, she texting me, I'm talking to you, reading the chat. And it's pretty cool, man.
What I thought was very funny on the Game Awards, and you would never get this, and this is part of your personality on the stream. You're like, Lena, no one cares about your McDonald's order. And I was like, I felt like saying, I want to know what she's ordering, and that's how inquisitive that I was. But I just thought it was funny how the Game Awards on, and all you had this back in the background McDonald's talk. I thought that was
man, and also Chris, he was like typing or playing the game and stuff. I'm like, yo, man. What's crazy? Remember in the Game Awards, at some point they was like, oh, it's okay to stream this. But I woke up this morning, it was blocked. I was like, yo. So then I was like, you know what? I don't even want to ask, could they unblock it? And then I went and looked, and it was unblocked. Or I got the email said, oh, you had a stream that was, now it's available to be streamed. But then it took off my monetization because it said it was like 1 minute of the video that there was some type of ad that blocked. So the video still played, but the monetization was turned off. So I had to go and do the edit where it took out that ad.
Yeah, it's when you started yesterday or this morning, should I say? It was like people were a bit worried about the discussion, and I was like, oh, maybe they got partnerships with proper streaming outlets like IGN and stuff like. You don't know, so maybe they want the professionalism of proper media outlets than actually, just streamers, which is a bit hateful, like, because I think the streamers actually bring a lot to it.
Yeah, I agree. And then, not for nothing, we are putting it to more people. What's up, Jersey? So, like, think about it. There could be some people that just tuned in just to chill and talk, right? That wasn't even going to watch the Game Awards, So you got to think about that. There's some people who are streamers, and they have like people who watch them and chat with them and talk with them, and it's like, oh, he's on, like, oh, the Game Awards. I wasn't even going to watch it, but then they end up seeing a video, a world premiere or whatever, because they was chatting away or whatever, and that person happened to be viewing it. So I think it actually makes sense. And it's like it's on TV or something like that,
Yeah, so it was fun seeing it. I mean, I think it was a bit lackluster.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit lackluster, the Game Awards. Like we talked in a past panel that the games wasn't there. It wasn't something that we could all hype and brag about. But I do give credit that the award still is viable to these creators and developers who won. But to me, it wasn't something that I'll be looking back on. Cowboy, remember 2021
No,
games?
not at all.
Remember when that person came on stage? And of course, that's because of the restrictions of like COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we know that it wasn't a Game Awards that we can talk about for the Aeons.
No. And I felt like the end of it, man. I felt like they did the orchestra thing. Then they was like, Game of the Year, It Takes Two. And the guy walked up, oh my God, I can't believe it. Thank you so much. And he walked off and he said, all right, guys, it was a great show. Take care. And I was like, wait, that's it? It's over? Like, I just wanted them to doll up the Game of the Year a little more. I guess that's what the orchestra was supposed to be, but it didn't really do it for me. Probably because we was talking. But
there was a guy, Anna Melina was saying about it. He was like, oh, he didn't know he was going to win, but he should have practiced a speach at least. And he just came on show and he went, oh, I won. Thank you. And I was like, come on, you should at least once you've been nominated, you should take a little bit of pride in being the top 5 and at least having something to say.
Yeah. Here's the question. And I got to go soon. My daughter says she's ready for me to pick her up. But what's your thoughts about the Steam Deck?
I have not pre-ordered it. It is something that I'm sort of staying away from. It's something that I might be invested in the future as different adaptations come out. But just when people go, oh my God, I can play my Steam library, I can get this. I'm like, okay, but I'm not running out to play my Steam library on a handheld. I know you can start docking it, but I know the dock's not coming out at the same time as the handheld. So I'm more the type of person is when the accessories come out and I can treat it like a PC, install Windows, and then boot it up as what's it called? Steam mode, where it actually, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Then I'll look at it. But at the moment, I'm definitely not going to run out to be the first adoptee of this piece of hardware just to boast about PC gaming on the portable. Because to me, I feel like I'm already getting that Viva Cloud. So I don't need low storage like 512 to play a handful of games locally, when the likes of like GeForce Now 3080 is just being proved that you can have a great experience on handheld, so I don't need to be tied to local anymore.
Right.
Or Stage is just offered up to 4K 60. So I feel like my Steam library is full of games over the generations, but it's not something that I feel like I need to buy another hardware to have a 720 upscaled experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's cool. Now you've seen the new thing that they're working on that I think Ace and Mr. Irwin was talking about, that Razer GX3 G3X looks cool.
But Ace has got a piece of portable gaming hardware, and it absolutely looks lovely, and always makes me curious to see it, like, oh wow, this is something that must be invested, and it makes me jealous. But I know that I should actually just step back a little bit and see what local portable hardware can start offering that challenges the cloud. But at the moment, I'm seeing cloud as a viable option to be portable, so I don't feel like I need to.
Yeah, I look at my my phone as a switch, pretty much. I could walk out the door and keep playing my games if I want,
So the only thing I can trust going forward, I would want to have a hybrid local approach, because it uses SD cards and the games are very well optimized in size, and it could offer cloud. It offers cloud at the moment, but better cloud using 5G and stuff like that is maybe a new Switch device, a new Switch handheld. They're the only ones that I'm thinking at the moment could bring this approach to me. I mean, if someone said to me, would you trust a PlayStation Vita 2 or a PSP? I'll be like, maybe. It'll be more of a yes than my Steam Deck.
Well, if they have a way for it to support the same games that you play on your PlayStation 5, then yes, because that means why would they stop supporting it? But if it's its own games that you purchase for that specific device, well, we've seen that in then it's his own console for that matter, and then
because with Steam, I bought the Steam controller. It's not really getting used. I bought the Steam Connect. That's not really getting used. I bought a Steam. They brought it. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name now. But they brought like a form factor PC that looked like a console. That failed. I bought the Steam Alpha and that failed. And I just don't have a lot of trust in Steam hardware, because I think the PC gamers who are heavily invested in Steam are more mouse and keyboard, hardware, better frames, better this. They don't want to be dialed back in a narrative of 720 super sampled, blah, 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 blah.
Cool. I said this to Mr. Urban when I made my video, and everybody was like, well, I said, listen, that one thing that on the IGN video, they said they have no way to support mobile. And for me, I feel like if I wanted to play games at a lake and
you look
play
like
online.
On the Steam Deck, for example, you can install Windows, which in the future could actually incorporate the Play Store. So the question is, will the Steam, who actually owns the device, start limiting what devices you can actually install on it? Or are we actually treating it as a native PC where we can put all the cloud services, all the storefronts, all the side loading, all the...
Yeah.
Will they support?
Make a mod? I mean, you could say that, but how are you gonna mod? I mean, I guess they could come out with something down the road, right? To connect, is it possible to come out with something you could attach to something that doesn't have the capability to have mobile service, but you still be able to connect Wi-Fi? Like, I mean, not Wi-Fi, but your hotspot. Like, I don't know if that's the thing.
But you see, I think our phone's more catered to hold 5G data now. Mobile data, and the screens are well optimized for streaming data. So I don't think now, what's the point of a Steam Deck? It's like we're demonstrating that we don't have to be restricted by local hardware now. And for some strange reason, Steam, instead of going in the cloud or even offering a hybrid device, they just went, well, you can take your games locally. And I'm like, wait there, a lot of people that support the Steam Deck were the same people that were bashing Nintendo Switch 5 years ago. And I'm like,
that's funny.
If the Switch came out 5 years ago and proved it works, what market are you trying to cater for? Because now they're in the middle of local, hybrid, and cloud. And I'm like, I just don't see it. But apart from the Steam OS.
I don't know what a bad link is. It's a bad link. Yo, Evans, what's up? Anyways, Evans, whenever you show up, I'm killing the show. So I gotta go pick my daughter up. But I do want to play some games. I have no clue when my wife's gonna come home. I know my daughter is actually gonna be. She's a co-host now on the clickbait show Prospector, and that's in 2 hours. But I do want to play onto the end. I still gotta get something to eat. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it here. Always gotta thank Holtz for coming on. Just awesome to have you. I would have been on here all by myself, just talking to myself. Now to talk to. I've been talking to everybody, but it's cool to have you on here, man.
Anytime, man. As long as you keep on dropping that link in the chat and stuff like that, you know,
I'm always going to do it.
I can always sit there and you know, I hope people take a bit of inspiration or knowledge or some bit of humor from what I do, because I know the people that join your stream, I'm laughing with them, and I get a lot of knowledge from them. So it's actually good to see you dropping that link.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you. Like I said, you kind of inspired me to really stick to it. Like I said it, and then when you repeated what I said, I was like, oh man, I did say that. You was like, look, man, when you said you was trying to merge,
you were already you're already trying to drop your hat, and there was me trying to give you the inspirational talk. Come on, cowboy, go do it.
Well, because you know what, people say a lot, right? But then how much do they stick to it? And I think it's bold. I'm gonna say that, right? To just put a link and say, anybody see this link? Just look, there's a link. Jump in there, and it'll pull you in.
What's so great is that the community members, that people that have subscribed, they're very friendly. I know sometimes they support the platforms, but then I don't feel like they're toxic. I don't think that they're the people that you don't want to listen to. I feel like that it's great to sort of get a big, huge perspective from a lot of members, and it's all fun. And as you know, 6 people on stream having a laugh and joke as friends, as gamers, is actually a good thing.
Yeah. And even debating, like I love when me and Maker Chaos get into it. It's pretty cool, you know. It's fun. But it's cool because we both have we know, like, we're just messing with each other and stuff. For the most
part. I remember listening to Maker the first time. I was like, wait there. And he just said, no, he know. And the Maker was like, yeah. Off stream, he actually said, yeah, I tolerate cowboy. It's humor. And I know where we've drawn the line in the sand. And I was like, wow, okay, that's actually cool hearing that.
Yeah.
And since then, it's just been great hearing the banter between people. As you know, they're your guests. You've spoke to these people numerous times, and it's just great to see how you can also bounce off each other, right or wrong. So
even today, like Ray was getting into a little bit of the issue with somebody on, not issues, but you know, the whole drama stuff, right? And then he had tagged me, so I looked. I was like, you know what? I'm not getting into it. I'm just staying out of the drama. They was debating, arguing over logo gate or Stadia not having logos, whatever, right? So then Duncan said something, and I said something, because him and I, you know, we mess with each other, and then it got into, here we go. And I said, you know what? I said, you know what, Duncan? Let's not let Ray get us at each other's throats. I said, I'm getting off this thing right now. And I wanted to go back, but I was like, you know what? It's stupid, right? We don't know what these companies are doing. Like, these billion-dollar companies. I'm not taking it that far. I like the little banter that, like, I would have with Maker Chaos, where we know, we laugh, we joke, we jab each other a little bit, like, oh, well, GFN, Stadia, this and that, and then we laugh a little bit. I didn't want it to get into that 30-minute on Twitter. So then that was today. I said, you know what? And I was literally the one to say, I'm out. I let him get the last laugh. You know?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's all good.
I like you said, don't waste your time on Twitter. Don't waste your time in the comments. Come on the show. Say what you have to say, and we can banter all left, right, and center.
Yeah,
so
that's because how cool is that? You get to actually, you know, because there's a lot of emphasis sometimes in what you're saying and how you're saying it, but people take it out of context when you're writing. So, dudes, you know, like that guy Near, it was cool when he came on. I didn't know him from a can of paint, but I said, listen, bro, I do a show 5:30 p.m. Eastern. You could come on today, say what you got to say, and he was an awesome guest. So. But anyways, Evans, what's up, man? Just jumping in. I actually got to go get my daughter. She said she's ready now. She got a book bag and all that stuff together. So
there you go. Well, Cowboy, thanks again for having me on. And until next time, you know, guys in chat, have a good time, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, host. Appreciate it. Guys, that was another King of Content show. So I'm going to get out of here. I might stream again later on because my wife's going to be out for a while. But with that said, now your mama knows. Let me get my daughter. Oh, and the music is done by Bruce Cambrell. Get the baby God dragon.
And now your mama knows.
Bruce, unleash the baby God dragon.